Evening, everyone. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, be advised that a notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board in Town Hall and forwarding to the officially designated newspapers that this meeting would take place at Town Hall at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. Meeting details and the draft agenda were also posted on our Township website. Please stand to salute the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Ms. Prupus? Here. Deputy Mayor Sacramento?
Here.
Mr. Stoller?
Present.
Mayor Romano?
Here. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it is chair time. Sorry, the chair. Do it from here. So as many of you know, tonight is Committeewoman Prupus's last meeting. We've had our moments through the years. We've disagreed on a lot, but I just want to tell you that you've been an excellent friend, and you've done a great job during your tenure on the Township Committee, 6 years, including your time as mayor. And I want to thank you. So just a couple of Tara's accomplishments. You stepped up as a leader during Hurricane Ida by supporting both the township and our residents' efforts in the recovery process. You helped organize and start Tour de Millburn, which is still going strong 4 years later. You initiated and championed the Downtown Vision Plan, and several goals have already been implemented. Zoning changes that have been made to make the process a bit easier for businesses that want to join our township. Taylor Park Gateway study that's currently underway, working on it for 2025. And you've advocated for the creation of the Public Safety Advisory Board and more. So again, I just want to thank you for your service and your commitment to the residents of this town and to the township. Thank you. Thank you. When you go to Vermont with your new swag. Okay. May I have a motion to approve the December 3rd, 2024 regular Township Committee minutes?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to approve the December 3rd, 2024 special Township Committee minutes?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Chief Gilfetter, you have some new hires for us today.
Hello. I would just like to thank the committee, the mayor, Mr. McDonald, for allowing us to present two candidates for police officer tonight. First off is going to be Stephen Porse. Stephen is 30 years old, currently resides in Rockaway. He's born in Summit, but lived in Costa Rica from 2008 to 2014, where his parents currently live. He graduated from high school in 2012 in Costa Rica, and after high school, he moved back to New Jersey and attended County College of Morris. He worked for Atlantic Ambulance as an EMT and a medical transporter. For the past 8 years, Stephen has been working for Advanced Auto Parts and has become the store general manager. Stephen will be attending the Morris County Police Academy in January 2025. Next up is James Greenbush. James is 24 years old and currently resides in Clark. James graduated Arthur Johnson High School in June of 2018. He joined the Marine Corps and served from 2018 to 2022. And then in 2023, James started pursuing his undergraduate degree in business administration at Kean University. James will be attending the Morris County Police Academy in January 2025.
May I have a motion to approve resolution 24-274, which confirms the appointments?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Krupas? Yes. Deputy Mayor Sakamanni?
Yes.
Mr. Stoller?
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano?
Yes. Ms. Gotti will now issue the oath of office to the new appointments.
Together. You guys can raise your right hand. You're gonna repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Streambush Forest,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of police officer
the duties of police officer
of the Milburn Township Police Department
of the Milburn Township Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we are honoring some police officers this evening. Chief, would you like to start, or do you want me just to do the proclamations? Officers Sweeney, Nasim, and Frisch. Can you come up? You guys are my heroes. Whereas on Sunday, December 27, 2024, an 88-year-old woman was trapped in her home that was on fire. And whereas the police department was dispatched to the scene. And whereas in a coordinated rescue effort, the woman was pulled from the fiery home, and saved through the heroic actions of Officer Thomas Sweeney, Officer Steve Nassim, and Officer David Frisch. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Milburn and behalf of the Township residents on the 17th day of December 2024, that Milburn Police Officers Sweeney, Nassim, and Frisch, in the tradition of your noble profession, receive the praise and thanks you so rightly deserve for your selfless dedication to your profession, and receive profound thanks for your heroic actions. Thank you so much. And I said it at an earlier meeting and I'll say it again. I just want to thank you for giving Ellie another week to say goodbye to her family and friends. So thank you. Okay, Mayor Lieberberg, Community Service Award. Or actually, you know, we're gonna take a quick break first so that the officers can leave, so you don't have to stay for the rest of our meeting. Thank you again. We have a special birthday today, so let's take a poll, like who thinks that we should sing?
No.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm turning my mic off so you don't hear me sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Al. Happy birthday to you.
No.
Everybody grab a piece of cake and we'll start in like 2 minutes.
I guess I gotta eat, right?
Yes.
Hey, Steve.
You got it.
Frank? Congratulations. You're gonna keep watching the recording too. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're like seated alone.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yes, that's
I can manage cutting a cake.
I think, can I have mine now? Yeah, we don't want to.
Mayor Lieberberg, Community Service Award.
So I'm here with Leah Cruz and former Mayor Elaine Becker, Laura Janae on the committee. And you can go, come on in. Yeah, you can come join us. Go ahead.
Hey, hello Township Committee and residents. My name is Leah Cruz. I'm a member of the Community Service Award Committee. Our committee recommends to the Township Committee deserving individuals or groups who have generously given their time and who, through their volunteer activities, enhance the quality of life in the Township of Milburn and the community at large. This will be the 97th award given since the inception of this committee in 1991. I've been on the committee that long. Tonight, we recognize Short Hills Garden Club, whose work throughout the township we all benefit from and appreciate. Here to receive the award is Heather Cadronell, president of the Garden Club, and I will let Heather explain more about their activities, and you will understand why we have chosen them. Thank you. So take that off, whichever you can turn it or whatever.
Good evening, everyone. As Leah said, my name is Heather Cadronell, president of the Short Hills Garden Club. Thank you to the Community Service Awards Committee and the Township Committee for this wonderful recognition. The award recognizes the commitment of so many ladies over so many years who wanted to give back to their community by digging in the dirt. Tonight, the Short Hills Garden Club members here tonight, couple rows, are mostly my board, but they also represent all the members who have helped this Milburn Short Hills community grow. And thank you. And I think you'll read the proclamation, which will give you some highlights of the things we do, including the community garden, and we'll let them read that to you. You'll hear about that. So thank you.
I stay. Yeah.
Please stay. Whereas the Milburn Township Committee values the contributions of volunteers in the township and wants to recognize outstanding volunteer efforts that reflect the giving spirit of our community, including township residents. And whereas the Short Hills Garden Club, a nonprofit organization, was founded in 1906 and was a founding member of the Garden Club of America in 1913, over 100 years ago. Whereas the Short Hills Garden Club was founded to share and expand knowledge of gardening, and throughout the years has been dedicated to horticulture, flower arrangement, conservation, and community service for the enjoyment of Milburn Short Hills Township residents. Whereas the Short Hills Garden Club's approximately 70 members are comprised of the Milburn Short Hills community and the surrounding area, who each volunteer their time to one of the 5 active projects of the club and other projects on an ad hoc basis, which include the Walbridge Rose Garden at the entrance to Taylor Park, a gift from a generous member and her husband in 1979, which includes a gazebo and 4 quadrant rose gardens, which the club maintains, along with many of the perimeter plantings and the sprinkler system. The Community Garden, which was created in 1975 for Milburn Township residents on land owned by the Neighborhood Association of Taylor Street, in which the club oversees the management and daily operation of the 87 plots of town residents who enjoy growing fruits, vegetables, and flowers, and the camaraderie of fellow gardeners, and which was the first community garden accepted into the Garden Club of America collection. The 12 Short Hills train station window boxes, which club members fill with a variety of seasonal greens in early December, and then again with colorful flowers in early May. Special seasonal table arrangements of greens and flower arrangements for Atlantic Health Home Care and Hospice, which club members create throughout the year and which are given to Atlantic Health Home Care and Hospice for distribution to their patients. And lastly, Thomas Edison Greenhouse at Llewellyn Park, a National Historical Park project, which was pioneered by the Garden Club of the Oranges, which merged with the Short Hills Garden Club in 2020, and which club members continue to help maintain and preserve the plantings in the greenhouse as they would have been when the family of Thomas Edison lived there. Whereas the Short Hills Garden Club is currently self-sustaining with grants from the Garden Club of America member dues, and its annual planned sale in May. Now, therefore, I, Michael Cohen, a member of the Township Committee, on behalf of the Township Committee and members of the Millburn community, applaud the continuing efforts of the Short Hills Garden Club, which has significantly contributed to the beautification of our township.
Thank you.
Garden Club members to come up to the podium and take a picture.
Come on, ladies, I had to stand up there all that time.
Yeah. And now.
Wherever.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Michael Cohen, you want to?
Michael, you wanna?
Yeah.
Yes. He wants to be on the All right.
Do you want to say anything about if anyone wants to join?
No.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move on to reports. Okay, Committeeman Stiller, would you like to start?
Sure. Okay. Recreation Committee, registration for the RAD Women's Self-Defense Training, ages 13 and up, is still open. Program takes place on January 13th and 14th from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Bauer Community Center. That's available. The Giro Park LED light installation should begin early January. Tennis and basketball lights will be retrofitted to LED and they will be added to the new pickleball courts. The Special Improvement District, Winter Villages were a hit. We had over 1,000 visitors between 2 nights for the annual Winter Villages. I saw a lot of people out there. It was an awesome experience. And we look forward to sharing the photos and videos on social media. The sponsors were fantastic. The whole year on SID. And I just want to name them because they've given so much back to the community. Garden State Dental Design, Art of Problem Solving Committee, Splurge Bakery, Wonder, Duncan, Garden State Therapy Group, Home Instead of Millburn, Oliver's Nanny, Sweet Tooth Pediatric Dentistry, Dr. Shaw, the Footer Financial Group of Janie Montgomery Scott, Jack Surf and Turf, Curious Kids, M&T Bank, Bull and Bear Brewery, Orange Theory, Menon Regenerative Institute, PNC Bank, and C2 Education. Big round of applause for those guys. $50,000 in donations. Explore completed its first year of holiday decor improvements in partnership with the township. Kind of fill the void of the Chamber of Commerce. The new holiday lighting at the Bauer Center, Rose Garden Gazebo, Clock Tower, Lot 1, and the courtyard behind Willow and Whisk. Short Hill Station at Jack's Lobster Shack on Upper Millburn. Steve and Amanda, thank you so much. And we just want to really recognize Tim, Alex, Tom Doty, John Walker, and the members of the public works staff for all chipping in to making this happen. Tonight's the approval of SID budget. That comes on later in the evening. We received over 50 letters of support from businesses. Received less than 10 in opposition to the budget, which was pretty much a form letter. Was a form letter. Additionally, their key performance indicators were robust and they met and exceeded all metrics. Those were available to the TC, as well as to the public in the last TC or the Explore budget presentation. BOE, Board of Education Liaison. Last night's Board of Education meeting, the board approved Dr. Diskin's recommendation to appoint John Connolly as Assistant Superintendent beginning on January 1. And congratulating Mr. Connolly, Dr. Diskin said, I look forward to continued collaboration with Mr. Connolly in his new role. Mr. Connolly is currently the principal at Milburn Middle School, where he has been leader since July 2017. Planning for the transition is underway, and he will slowly still be on call for the middle school. Mr. Connolly, on a personal note, I always get emotional. My son was in a horrific wrestling accident when he was in middle school. And to tell you that Mr. Connolly was accommodating and caring to our family and to helping him through that issue, I cannot say enough good things about him. He's a great guy. We're lucky to have him in the administration. You know, a lot of information on drones and such going across the night sky. I actually saw one above my house. I got it on video. Just want to let you know that, you know, I'm speaking to Jamel Boyer at Summit. We're talking to the police chief. We're talking to other folks in New Jersey, and really trying to get some answers from Governor Murphy and the White House per se. We've also been in a close communication with Mr. Bramnick, Senator Bramnick, who has been fantastic in helping out and keeping us informed as well. And I think Frank will talk a little bit about that. Joint fields, no update right now. Emergency dispatch, Mountain Valley Emergency Communication Center. We have a budget meeting tomorrow. I'll report back at the next meeting in the new year on that. And no updates on flood mitigation. Affordable housing, I will defer to
Ms. Tamayo.
Yeah, or Jared, if I guess he's en route, right? So
We'll wait for Jared to get here.
great. So that's my update. Thank you so much.
Committeeman Cohen?
Sure. The Arboretum, we met last week. They will be conducting a strategic plan to do what strategic plans do, help them reestablish their mission and their vision and where they want to be going forward. They're also continuing to plan for the Indian vegetarian cooking event that will be held in January. At the library, first of all, plans continue for the refurbishment of the second floor. The final plan should be available shortly, and then the construction should begin in the new year. Just take note that the Freedom to Read Act was signed by the governor since the last meeting, which addresses book banning. And as you may remember, the Milburn Library is a book sanctuary. It was one of the first libraries to pass a resolution that way. But now the new statute puts some rules around that and also provides protection for librarians who are just doing their job. Lastly, as I think I mentioned last time, this is also the time for the annual renewal for the Friends of the Milburn Library, and I would encourage all of you to join. It's a very worthy organization. They put on a lot of programs at the library, and if you're a member, you also get a lot of pretty cool discounts in downtown. So that's my report.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Secondary.
Sure. So the Citizens Affordable Housing Committee will be having its first public meeting via Zoom at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday. Our town planner, Graham Petto, will be giving a presentation explaining the town's fourth round affordable housing obligations. So I encourage everyone that's interested in affordable housing to join that meeting, and the link is going to be on the township website. The EC would like to remind the community to recycle in order to recycle polystyrene packing materials that they may find protecting many of their Christmas or Hanukkah gifts. They must deposit it into the large blue polystyrene collection container in the DPW yard on Main Street. If you put it in your curbside recycling bin, it will not get recycled. So if you want to recycle it, it needs to be clean, free of all tags, labels, and tape, and it does need to be the white type of styrofoam. So I would encourage everyone that has styrofoam over the holidays to bring that to the DPW yard. Planning board has another meeting tomorrow, and I believe the entire meeting is gonna be focused on the High Center. So I know a number of you in the audience have been following that closely. You know, definitely come to the meeting if you have questions, or want to make comments. Yeah, so on drones. So I've actually had a number of residents in town reach out with concerns about the drones. We've all been reading stuff in the news. And I did actually inquire, you know, to our business administrator, to get in touch with the police chief to see if there's any hardware or software that can be used to help bring these drones down, or to, you know, identify them. That technology exists and it's available to militaries around the world. Apparently, though, is not available to local law enforcement and would require an act of Congress in order to give us permission for that. So aside from that, you know, I think we're starting to see there's more and more politicians that are starting to make more noise about this. So I'm hoping in the coming weeks that we'll eventually get some answers. That's it.
Committee Woman Purpose?
I have no reports.
Okay, so yesterday, Mr. McDonald and John Rescue, the township engineer from Mount McDonald, and myself met with Mayor Warren and his business administrator in the city of Orange to talk about next steps with the Orange Reservoir. We discussed conceptual plans for the bypass solution that would be presented to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection to determine feasibility of the project and permitting requirements. In order to move forward with discussions with the NJDEP, we needed the support of Orange and their endorsement on our DEP application. So Mayor Warren said, okay, so what do we do next? So we are preparing a resolution for their consideration, and we truly appreciate their continued willingness to hear us out on this impactful regional solution and their continued support through the process. This project, if feasible and permissible, could significantly mitigate flooding in downtown Millburn, South Mountain, and other areas in the Rollway River. I just wanted to thank the Flood Mitigation Advisory Committee and the Township Committee for their steadfast commitment to evaluating solutions and supporting these ongoing efforts. So we'll look forward to that next year. Senior citizens, they recently went to the Hunterton Hills Playhouse. They saw a show, had lunch and dessert. The seniors also had other holiday lunches throughout town. They met with the neighborhood nursery school, had some craft event with the children. They had speaker Ellen Steinberg present to them a conversation on property tax relief, the anchor program, and senior freeze. They also had someone speak to them regarding emergency preparedness. Sneaker Factory also spoke to them regarding proper sneakers for walking. Then our Human Services Coordinator was also in the group. On the last quarter, she reported that she assisted 10 senior citizens. She has one case management case that she's working on. She provides the pantry resources to the seniors. She also said that the flu clinic was very heavily attended, and she assisted 4 seniors with SNAP, affordable housing resources, and utility assistance. And then with our local assistance board for the last quarter, she had 19 cases, 17 households. Of those households, 6 are seniors, 8 families, 3 single adults. And again, she assists them with Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP benefits. And that's all I have. Ms. Tamayo, would you like to wait to see if Mr. Cantor shows up, or?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few reports from me briefly, hopefully. First and foremost, I just want to provide an update on the Pedestrian Safety Advisory Board, who met for the final time in December. We set our some goals and objectives for 2025, as well as discussed our meeting schedule for 2025. which will be posted on the township's website following the reorganization meeting. We will meet 6 times as we did this past year. In addition, we are going to be adding a night meeting to that schedule just so that we can activate some participation from the public. On that note, I would just like to let the community know that the township is the recipient of a Safe Routes to Transit grant in the amount of $479,000 for the eastbound side of the Short Hills train station. While we've spoken about this project for quite some time, since about 2019, there is still some work to be done in terms of its overall design, but generally the concept and the idea behind it to promote organization on the eastbound side as well as increase pedestrian safety has been awarded a grant, and we are very pleased with that. In addition, I understand there was a pedestrian crash on the westbound side of the Short Hills train station last week, and on Monday, myself, the traffic department, the engineer met at the site just to evaluate and see if there are some additional measures that could be taken to alleviate what may have occurred there. Unfortunately, the individual was in the crosswalk and was walking properly through that intersection. And I think there's some improvements we can do over there in the short term, which we will be addressing. In addition, we have added barricades to the no parking areas by the UPS store and the post office. We ask that residents do not just park beside them. I imagine it's also visitors, but just for those that are here and spread the word, but do not park beside it. That defeats the purpose. We put those there so that people do not park there, and that we can create a better flow of traffic, more safe parking, as well as maybe some increased pedestrian safety by not blocking the crosswalk's view. So just wanted to alert the public to those changes that have taken place. Just wanted to let the public know that tomorrow we'll be closing town hall at 3:30 p.m. For a staff meeting. The staff meeting is in relation to the town hall renovation that was approved by the township committee, so that we can start our process and alert the staff on measures that need to be taken between now and the time that we move to 22 East Willow, which will be the temporary town hall for approximately 18 months to 2 years once renovations do take place. So just a note to everybody that town hall will be closed tomorrow at 3:30. I wanted to let the community and the township committee know that the 250th anniversary committee, which will take place 250th anniversary of the United States in 2026, has been formed. I thank Committeeman Stoller, Mayor Annette Romano for being the TC liaisons to that committee. And there are several other groups that are involved in that, such as the Mayoral Short Hills Historical Society, the 4th of July Committee, and others, the Sons of the American Legion. And so we look forward to getting the work started on that committee and some events and having a special celebration for that 250th in 2026. The first thing that will kind of be coming out and happening is, as many of you may have been here for a meeting in which we were presented a Revolutionary War information kiosk that would be placed in Taylor Park regarding the last thrust of the British that took place out here in front of Town Hall. There's a rock that commemorates it as well. The Battle of Springfield and other various things that took place in the Short Hills and Milburn area that not many people may be aware of, but this kiosk will draw awareness to that and to the history of our township. We'll be looking to set up a donation platform for that. It's about a $15,000 expense. We do have other people that are donors that are willing to match, and some more information that will be coming out with that as well. Just to supplement the Flood Mitigation Advisory Committee update, I just wanted to let the public know that we had our resident kickoff meeting for home elevations. There are 3 homes post Ida that were severely impacted and decided to go the route of elevating their homes, which is a grant through FEMA, and which the township is a part of and helps administer. We had that homeowner kickoff last week, And so we have some very excited residents that have been through a lot as a result of IDA. And this is a avenue that they want to go through to protect their homes and themselves and their family. So we're excited to get that kicked off. Lastly, it's the end of the year, so it's time to renew your parking permits. If you haven't done so already, this goes for commuter, business, and shopper parking. Don't forget shopper parking, which was another thing that Tara helped with in the township and getting that started, which is a great program. Residents can purchase a permit and not have to feed the meters, not have to worry about using the pay stations and all of that. So just if you're looking to get a permit, now is the time to do that. There's a grace period till January 15th. So we just encourage everybody to do that. And that is all available online as well. Residents can do that online. So those are my reports. Thank you, Mayor.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, public comment. When invited to speak to offer your comments, please come to the lectern, clearly state your name and whether you are a Milburn resident and or property or business owner. Please do not provide your full address, seeing our meetings are recorded and readily available to the public. For the convenience of our community, there is a remote option. If you called in and would like to comment, please press *6 now. If you are attending by computer or electronic device, please click the raise hand button and be sure your video is on when you comment. All members of the public wishing to speak will be put into the queue to address the committee. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit all to be heard, speakers shall limit their comments to 1 3-minute session. You will be prompted when there are 30 seconds remaining. A reminder that this is not a time for dialogue or to debate a matter, and this is a time during our business meeting for the public to offer comments. And if you're here for the public hearing for the SID, there will be another opportunity later for comments for that. I will now open the public comment period.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Joanna Parker Lentz. I do not have time, unfortunately, to stay for the public comment that specifically relates to Explore because I have a Milburn Education Foundation board meeting that is starting in 16 minutes. So I was hoping to make my comments, heard right now before we have a chance to move on. I would like to wholeheartedly state my support personally as a resident of the town, as somebody who puts on really great events for the town, and find Steve Grillo and Amanda Dean to be partners in event planning. I run ideas by them. We do a lot of things that are collaborative for the Milburn Ed Foundation, and I get a lot of great resources from them. As a realtor, I also get resources from Steve when it comes to bringing in new businesses. I've sold homes in this town for over 25 years. I've rented residential properties downtown, commercial properties. I've placed people into many different places of the downtown. Steve Grillo has been the most helpful resource, and I've tried to put people in downtown for 25 years. I've never had a great time until Steve got here. So it's really important to have people like that who can act as your liaisons in positivity, and please don't let the negative Nellies convince you that this is not a worthwhile endeavor. The downtown really needs to be supported. And for the first time in a very long time, I feel like we have a great support system in downtown, and our events are running nicely. Would I like them to be on Main Street during the summer? Sure. But am I going to die on a hill for that? No. I think, they've done the best they can with the resources they have, and it's really great what they do for our downtown. So I just would like to make that support known. Nicole Cohen-Richter, who is my co-founder of the Rocktoberfest event, along with many others, but she is my right-hand person. She can't be here tonight, but she would like to also offer her support and really, appreciates all the work that's done downtown. And we really love the event. So please, let's keep it going.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jeffrey Feld, I live in the poet section. I guess I'm a negative Nelly. I just want to talk about the agenda, consent agenda first. First of all, everyone, I wish you a happy holidays for your families. Ben, can you look at me when I'm speaking, please? I wrote, my custom, I wrote a heads up letter to you about various questions. First issue is about the minutes that you approved for the November 17th, 2024 meeting. They were sanitized. There was no mention of the discourse between Councilman Saccomanni and Mr. Grillo. There was no reference, Attorney Cantor's statements about my legal capabilities. That takes us into other things, because tonight you're gonna have to make determinations as to what was said on the record as to the budget hearing, because questions were asked and they have not been answered yet. Tonight, you're gonna be approving the NESA's redevelopment agreement. It's about a year since the planning board approved it. Now, have you compared it to the Upton and the other redevelopment agreements? And is there a deadline that they had to finish the projects? I don't know if there is a performance deadline. I could not find it. At the end of your agenda, there's a item about improvements to the police station. There's no availability certification of where the funds are coming from. And I think it's like in excess of a couple $100,000. How are those improvements being funded? You're also shifting monies and appropriations. When did you know that you had to get more money to pay your legal expenses over the year? There's a question on the bill list about a little bit more $1,000. This goes back to the harassment of the various dissenters or negative Nellies. The last meeting, there was a little discussion about the initial scope of that investigation. It's my understanding that the summons was given to you. I understand that all it was looking at first was the input of the complaint. There was never an investigation from the input of the complaint to the issue of the summons. If you look at the summons, there's various different issues, but it ties about the weaponization of our municipal court system against dissenters in this community. I'm happy that we're appointing 2 new police officers. They're going to the academy, but question is, after they're appointed, or will it be a net increase, or are they replacing people that retire? Again, happy holidays, and I will be speaking at other opportunities.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Hello, good evening. Sorry, I'll get back to you all. I'm Julie London. I'm here as a Milburn resident and also as an employee of Opportunity Project. And I know some of you and a lot of you know what we do. We support people that have a brain injury, adults with brain injury, right down on Willow Street. And we are here. And I'm actually joined by my executive director, Eddie Blata, and our board of directors. In spirit, they couldn't come, but we are all here in support of the wonderful Explore Milburn team here. I just want to echo Joanna's comments before and add some of our own. They have been wonderful partners of our organization for several years on one particular initiative, which is Restaurant Week, which you're all familiar with. And we've been working with them on Restaurant Week for a few years now. And not only are they so talented, and they are also very, very kind and very invested into helping this community thrive, which is so extremely important to our members, the people that join our program that have brain injuries and need help reintegrating back into the community. So Restaurant Week has opened so many doors for us, you know, with the help of Amanda and Steve. We've gotten some paid employment offers for our members. We've gotten various volunteer opportunities. We've gotten so much visibility, which is so necessary. You know, with all the wonderful marketing that the team does and all the banners and all the articles. And that is just so critical to our programs. We've raised over $12,000 in funds from Restaurant Week that we really need, because we are 100% nonprofit. So those funds are really critical for our programs. And you know, we all feel that Explore does a wonderful job really improving the vibrancy of this town. And as a resident, I can say that's so important. It inspires me to dine local, shop local, because of all the fun activities and very engaging things that are happening in town. I think that's really important. So my full support as a resident and my full support as an employee of Opportunity Project for their budget to be passed and like continue. We absolutely need them. And one last thing I want to mention, I have not a lot of time. I was in one of the shops when we had the hurricane like 4 years ago, and I remember when Steve walked in with a check for the owner of that shop as a donation to help her reopen and, you know, clear out the flooding from that storm. And that stayed with me, that stuck with me. And I think that that kindness is so important. And yeah, that positivity, we need it, and please support them. Please support the budget. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Vanita Gangwal. I'm a resident of Millburn, 69 Athens Road. I'm here just to applaud the TC for putting the seasonal restriction on gas-powered leaf blowers on the agenda for today's meeting. I hope it is still on the agenda.
It's under new business.
Yes.
I mean, old business, old business.
Yes, so I am speaking for myself as well as many residents in town. As part of Millburn Climate Action, we wholeheartedly support this ordinance as being proposed by the EC, and we hope it is in place for the upcoming year. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ian Dalmia, and I'm a junior at the Millburn High School, and I'm a resident of Millburn. And I'm also here to offer my wholehearted support for the ordinance against gas-powered leaf blowers. So what I would like to emphasize is that it's not a complete ban on them, it's only a seasonal restriction, and I believe that this only has beneficial impacts. For example, I see this to be a social as well as an environmental issue, as not just does this prevent the release of several chemicals into the environment due to these leaf blowers, but also gets rid of a lot of like the noise and the very harmful noise corruption caused by these leaf blowers. And I believe that, and I would like to motivate the residents to opt for other options such as battery powered leaf blowers that are not necessarily gas powered, as there are very, very many accessible options. And again, I would like to offer my wholehearted support for this ordinance. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Suvid Bordia. I also live in Millburn. So yeah, I think this restriction is like a really good idea, because usually when you look at these types of things, you're looking at the public support and all the pros and cons. But I think it's great, not only because it's like a seasonal restriction, but also it might allow for other type of blowers, such as like electrical blowers, to come more into the market and more people to start using them, which can just in turn create like even better environmental effects. So yeah, I think we should definitely implement this restriction.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Ishan Jain. I'm a senior living in Millburn and Short Hills. So last fall, a few Millburn and Short Hills students representing Millburn for Climate Action had the opportunity to interview upcoming candidates for the TC election on issues that we felt were of importance. And I specifically had the opportunity to ask about restrictions on gas-powered leaf blowers. Now, it's great to see that just a year later, not only has this ordinance passed through the EC, but is on the docket for the TC. Now, last year when I was part of this interview and question answer team, I was just 17 years old and was just happy to talk about an issue of environmental importance. But now as an 18-year-old who can vote, I can't wait to put my support behind candidates who are focused on climate action and sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rima Jaffer, and I'm a resident of Short Hills. I'm here to give my full-hearted support to Amanda and her team. I'm an amateur artist, and I was part of painting the wheel project, and I got to paint 3 wheels, and I thought it was beautiful how this group allowed the town to embrace diversity over here. So I give them my full support and would like you to approve their budget for 2025. I'm also part of the Millburn Action Group with my friend Vanita over here, and I would also like to ask for a seasonal restriction on leaf blowers. Thank you.
Thank you.
We come as a pair.
Okay.
I'm Dorothy Kelly. I'm a resident of Millburn Short Hills.
I'm Mara Epstein, and I'm a resident of Short Hills as well.
So this morning, we had the great pleasure to pack an enormous U-Haul full of toys for that Caring Kids has collected for their annual Caring Kids holiday drive. And I am thrilled to report that we raised from Milburn, the schools and from individual citizens, over $10,000 in cash and gift cards and over 1,500 gifts for children and families at the New Jersey Regional Day School and for the individuals who are at the Center for Autism. And as you may have heard, that these individuals have severe special needs in many cases, and they are also below the poverty line. This makes a huge difference in their lives. And thank you again, Milburn, for being so generous and opening your hearts and your wallets to help this very worthy cause. So thank you again. Thank you.
Anyone up?
Hi, I'm Donald Jaffe. I live in Maplewood, but I'm here kind of representing all the bicyclists that ride through Milburn. In particular, the areas around I call it Upper Glen, Lower Glen by Brookside, and Jefferson Avenue. Those two areas, but particularly Glen, is incredibly treacherous for us as bicyclists. I've been riding for 13 years in the area. Literally over 1,000 times I've been up and down that hill, and it's incredibly dangerous. And I realize, and I've spoken to the Department of Public Works here a couple of times, and also the engineer, outlining the fact that we really need to have those roads, and particularly the Upper Glen, because the ruts, I mean, God help you if you fall off. I mean, everybody's been on that. Even for motorists, it's very treacherous, and we get two cars coming by, and I know it's going to be hideously expensive because that whole thing has to be milled. It's got to be widened. You got to probably get permits from the people that own property on the sides. But I think, and Jefferson is another area where I was kind of hoping that once the construction on 3 houses was done, that they'd redo that road, because that road is also fairly treacherous. And I know I have to go like that with my bicycle because I travel back and forth on that road. But as I said, Glen was partially done in the lower part towards the tennis courts and in that area. And I had requested in one area where there was a little ditch where it goes off of Ridgewood, and that was repaired sort of good, but not very well. But there's a huge area on Glen above and below, but particularly, like I said, above that, absolutely needs to be repaired like 10 years ago. So and what I've also done, and I can leave this with you, I've taken pictures of the upper part, the lower part, and the Jefferson, particularly bad parts of it. And I can just leave this for the engineer for the Department of Public Works or whatever. And I just really appreciate it. I've been meaning to do this for like 10 years. And I know everybody that I ride with, you know, I moan about it. And so I would really appreciate that it be put into the plan, so maybe for next year, even if possible. I know it's kind of late in the area to do that, but it would really be appreciated because it's very highly dangerous. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, you can leave it. Thank you.
David Morrow, Milburn. I'd just like to echo the support that was raised by Joanna Parker Lenz for Explore Milburn, both Amanda and Steve Grillo. I've lived in the town for over 10 years, and I can tell you that they have had a significant positive impact on the commerce in this town. And Milburn should feel fortunate to have them working for that effort. So I hope that you'll approve their budget and give them more resources in the coming years to take care of a number of the challenges that they have to face here in Milburn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Charles Bambara, 28-year resident of Milburn Short Hills. I'm here to raise an issue regarding, I guess, township statutes and ordinances regarding stormwater drain off and stormwater management. I've been following the Kai Center development. And at the last meeting, they presented a drainage plan which is seriously flawed. And in my opinion, and the basis for their design of their stormwater system is a 2-year rain event, which NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, publishes frequency of storms and the intensity of the storms. A 2-year storm is approximately 4 inches of rain. Committeeman Stoller and I stood in Taylor Park and saw the effects of that, and the flooding on Main Street and Willow Street, and we were 1 inch below the river hitting the Futter building. So the 4-inch rainfall is based upon state statutes. This town is different than many other communities. We have 3 tributaries of the Runaway River running through town, and our ordinance should be stricter than that. We shouldn't be looking at 4 inches of rain. We should be looking at 8 inches of rain for new construction for stormwater management. I bring that up to you. I don't know where to direct that, but you know, the stormwater drainage at the Kai Center, they're looking at troughs to carry the water instead of pipes for stormwater drain. When that becomes inundated with a heavier rainfall, that's going to reach the banks of those troughs, and it's going to carry mud and grass and everything else down onto Jefferson and all down through the surrounding community. The rude lawyer for the applicant interrupted my line of questioning and didn't allow me to continue. So I bring that up here. But that stormwater system should be underground, and it should be in pipes. It shouldn't be on the surface where it's going to wreak havoc in a major storm. A storm that's every 2 years is very frequent, and it needs to be designed for a much more severe storm. And our ordinances in town should support that and require stricter stormwater control.
Thank you. Anyone else before we go online?
Christine Best, Melbourne Short Hills. I just want to thank everybody for a wonderful year. I think this team has done a really great job at pivoting the town in a lot of ways, and Annette, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
And also making the environment really super nice. So thank you. I'm reading some things in I guess in the future of tomorrow night's meeting, that as it would relate, and mostly my questions are directed to you, Alex, because you run the town. So it's about the Kai Center. How do you classify 1 Jefferson, Alex? Is it a resident, a temple, or a hybrid residence house of worship? Or is it a parsonage house? And if it's a parsonage house, can you advise what qualifiers you need to have a parsonage house? If 1 Jefferson is a residence, can you advise me how they're not paying taxes on that property since approximately 2003 to 2006. So for 18 to 21 years at 45K approximately tax valuation, that home does not offer $940K, almost $1 million in monies from taxpayers, in addition to the settlement agreement for $750K. That could estimate about $1.7 million of taxpayers lost money. So each household gifted over the last 25 years an estimate of $372.73 to this individual group. Has the clergy housing been audited on an annualized basis on their gross wages on tax forms to make sure this property is being shown as income? In the state of New Jersey, is a minister rabbi allowed to have a parsonage when they don't have a physically recognized house of worship? Or can you self-ordain your home as a house of worship? Number 6, did the township offer the High Center purchasing of the Rimback property or the old Chanticleer property prior to engaging in the settlement agreement? Section 462 of the real estate property tax law authorizes an exemption from real property taxation for property owned by a religious organization while the property is actually being used by the officiating clergyman of that organization for residential purposes. April 19th, 2024. How have you as Milburn Township interpreted this law when the house is not recognized as a full house of worship? In the settlement agreement with the High Center, The High Center agrees not to use 1 Jefferson as a house of worship in this section, and the rest of the document, from what I can understand, directly contradicts the rest of the agreement. In regard to the settlement agreement on page 3, section 4, it states the High Center parties agree to the following restrictions using the use of 1 Jefferson. Number 4D, the High Center shall not conduct Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur religious services except for a minyan, which I believe is only 10 people. Please correct me if I'm incorrect. Why are they allowed to have up to 120 people on holidays such as Sukkot and not on high holidays? Isn't that conducting services in a house of worship, which violates section 4 of Milburn Township's agreement and the court order for the Welches? Section 4E, no banquets can be held.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll
Thank
finish
you.
later.
Anyone before we go online?
Here.
Okay. Jean Pasternak, resident. I'm just going to continue. For F, restrictions of more than 15 vehicles of persons in attendance has been violated by overflow parking on Park Road. And Jefferson has testified by many residents. How many times have you cited them for this violation? In total, over the last 2 years, how many emails of advance notice have you received from the High Center for events that exceed the 15 vehicle restrictions? Ad restrictions, there are serious ad restrictions, yet their events have been consistently and are currently being advertised. What are you doing about that? Have you issued violations? Violation of this agreement constitutes an irreparable injury for which there is not adequate remedy at law, and agree to the entry of injunctive relief to cure such violation. Please list the times when this has been done, since both the Welch's attorney, private investigator, and the township have witnessed such violations. Over your tenure, how many violations have been issued to the High Center? Do you audit LLCs as in our township to manage hostile land acquisition? I see the state of New York has enacted such a transparency act. Why are we not doing this to protect our residents from high density projects, both commercial and residential in nature, being developed? If you knew where riparian areas at 165 Old Short Hills Road, and it was designated potentially historical and could have an active archaeological site as deemed by Barton Ross and Associates on the master plan, why was this property permitted to be demolished before the planning board hearing? If Virginia Welch won a lawsuit regarding land use restrictions and covenants from previous deeds, why did the township not enforce the code violations that the judges ruled on? Did that ruling supersede the settlement agreement? The Welch's deed to the High Center states that, quote, the conveyance of the property was subject to municipal ordinances, building, zoning, planning, and subdivision regulations, restrictions, covenants, conditions, limitations on title, and easements of record, if any, environmental laws, regulations, and conditions, and such state of facts as an accurate survey may disclose, end of quote. And the 1898 deed states, quote, nor shall said land be used of any purpose which could create a nuisance, unquote. And that but 2 dwelling houses shall be erected on the premises hereby conveyed, and that such houses shall be used as private and for 2 families only, unquote. How is it possible that the High Center quasi-residence is violating local and New Jersey state nuisance laws? Why was the engineering staff not present during the first planning board meeting on this application? Why were the tree experts not present during that same meeting? Were you familiar with nuisance law in the state of New Jersey? A nuisance in New Jersey is a condition or activity that interferes with the use or enjoyment of a property or is harmful to the health, safety, or well-being of others. Some examples of nuisances. Whoops.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go online.
We have 3 online.
Awesome. Please turn your camera on. Thank you. Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, who's up? Is it me?
Yep, you're up.
Okay, right. It's Ted Kuhn, so a long-term resident, over 35 years in Short Hills. And my questions were actually covered by Christine and Jean. I just wanted to know who was responsible for enforcing this decision that was handed down by the Superior Court of New Jersey in December 9th, 2022. I mean, we did pay the Bogalinski $750,000, and in turn, they were supposed to agree not to have these services conducted. And if they did, there was going to be a fine, a $5,000 fine per violation. So I would like to know, as they just asked, who's responsible for enforcing this decision? And has it been enforced? And have fines been levied against the Bogalimskis? And if so, have those fines been paid? So I'd like to really get you guys to clarify what is the decision with the rabbi? What is the agreement with the rabbi on this issue? So it's just a follow-up to what Christine and Jean were talking about. We have an agreement in place. It doesn't appear like it's being enforced. Who's responsible for enforcing it, and why aren't they enforcing it? So that is my question. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening. You're muted. I think you're muted.
Oh.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Harry, I think you're muted. Or you can't hear us. Can you hear us? Okay, you're muted.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Do you want to?
We can't hear you.
Your phone is on. It looks like your phone is on mute, Perry.
I would just come back.
All right, we'll go to the next person and try again. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. This is Radhika Iyengar. I live in Melbourne in the Wyoming section. And I just wanted to support the gas leaf blower restriction, seasonal restriction, because I feel that there is too much noise in the neighborhood and it disturbs a lot of people doing their work, especially people like me who are also working from home, doing these Zoom meetings. And I think it's a big pollutant as well. So I really support EC's comments here, and hoping that we can support this restriction so that we can have a quiet Melbourne and we can have a less polluting Melbourne and we can take care of our environment. So just wanted to raise this issue again and see if we can have some resolution to this sometime very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. iPhone.
Is Perry still there?
Texted her.
Can you turn your camera on, please? There you go.
Can you see me?
Yes, thank you.
Hello, my name is Nidhi Thakur. I live on Coleridge Road in Short Hills. I would like to support the seasonal ban on gas-powered leaf blowers because I feel that they cause a lot of sound pollution. Also, the leaves can be left, if they can be, to support the biodiversity. And also if they can be blown in a more peaceful manner, if at all. Of course, leaves are good for us, but if they need to be blown, if we could use something else, the sound pollution is bad, not just for us who are working from home, people who live here, but also for, I think, other animals, squirrels, and so on. So if we could put a stop on those polluting gas-powered leaf blowers, that would be good. Also because I don't need to repeat the science that, gas-powered leaf blowers use so much gas. It's almost equivalent of driving a car hundreds of miles away. So that much gas should not be used for something as simple as, taking care of our backyards. If we can't do it in a more clean way, I guess we shouldn't do it at all. So I would like to really support this that the EC has proposed, and I hope this can be executed. Also, because other towns have done it, I don't see why we should be behind. Thank you.
Thank you. She's gone. Okay. Okay, so I will now close public comment. Would anyone like to comment? Committeeman Stoller, would you like to start?
Sure. It's just so great to see the young people come out and support the environmental team. It's just fantastic. I actually interviewed with Ishan Jain last year, and the kids are just so smart and putting it to work. So it's just good to have all of the young people come out. It's great to have all those support and people out for the TC for the Explorer as well. And I just want to thank Mr. Bambera. He works tirelessly on this flood mitigation committee with us. And, Charlie, thank you so much. And literally, he's probably the only person in the world that would go out with me in that rainstorm and stand in the middle of Taylor Park up to our, ankles in water. So I appreciate everything you say. Thank you.
I just want to congratulate the Caring Kids program on an excellent drive, something so important to spread the joy of the holiday season. And then a question, Alex, for you. I know that we decide what roads to repave based on also, metrics. And so where does Glen fall? I mean, anecdotally, the bicyclists are saying it needs to be repaved, but that isn't how we do it. Do you know where it falls on the list?
The upper portion of Glen Avenue between Brookside and Old Short Hills Road is being repaved in 2025.
In 2025.
However, I think some of the comment was widening the road, and that is not anticipated to be a part of it. That is a very big undertaking, as the gentleman stated, but that portion is slated for 2025.
Yeah. I was just asking about the paving. I know you're widening the road.
Jefferson is also on our radar. Particularly, we understand like there's a quite a disparate curb treatment there. Every house is different on that street in terms of how it is curbed, as well as the condition of the roadway. So that is probably most likely a 2026 road project.
And then just one other thing, Mr. Rivera, I agree that we probably should be basing our zoning rules on something more stronger than a 2-year storm, given that we've had at least 300-year storms in the time that I lived here. I guess the only issue is, as I'm sure you realize, whatever we do, it would be, as seems to be the case, as many of our zoning rules comes after the fact of somebody taking advantage of the rules as they were when they supplied their paperwork. Nonetheless, going forward, there will be other developments like that that would be similar. And so I do think that's something we should look at on the zoning code review committee, which is where these zoning changes start.
Deputy Mayor?
Sure. So first, I would like to thank all of the young people that came out and all the individuals that came out in support of the seasonal restriction for the gas-powered leaf blowers. It's always great when we have people come out to speak in support of something as opposed to against something, which seems to happen all too often here. That said, I do also appreciate those that came out to make remarks about the SID. We'll discuss that a little bit later tonight. Mr. Bambera, I appreciate the issue that you've raised. I do think it would be worthwhile for the town to look into what options we have with regards to ordinances for stormwater management. I'm not sure, what options we have versus, what the state regulations are. So maybe Mr. McDonald could talk a little bit about that, or if he doesn't have those answers, maybe we can, engage our planner or whatever necessary professionals to see what options we have and whether there's things that other towns have done to help shore up their stormwater management requirements. Ms. Best, you had a whole litany of questions, and Mr. Kuntz as well. I would like to know if there are indeed restrictions on the High Center for what sort of services they can have, number of cars, et cetera. I would like to know, Mr. McDonald, has that been enforced? And if not, why not? At some point was the Township Committee authorize, a relaxing of those restrictions? Were those restrictions, in place to begin with? It would just be good to get some clarity, because I think there's a lot of questions, and if we have questions like that, we should try to provide answers, because I think one thing this town needs to do a better job of is code enforcement across the board. This has come up, time and time again, not necessarily about this one specific item, but code enforcement in general. So that's something we should strive to do more of. That's all I have for now.
Committee member purpose? I have no remarks. Mr. McDonald?
First and foremost, to answer Mr. Feld's question about where the funds are coming from for the police department renovation, the police chief has put in capital for the last 2 years regarding that project. So it is coming out of the capital budget. To speak to Ms. Best's list of questions, I would just first and foremost ask that you provide those questions. There are some that will be better answered by, in particular, the tax assessor when it comes to the tax status of 1 Jefferson. As it relates to the settlement agreement, I think that the long and short of the settlement agreement is there are a lot of provisions in that settlement agreement. I mean, and again, some of these questions I'm not going to be able to answer as it relates to Mr. Welch's case and who enforces his case at the Superior Court and things like that, which are not necessarily the township's responsibility. But in terms of the settlement agreement, it is the township's responsibility to enforce it. However, for the past few years, as it relates to the High Holy Days, the rabbi has asked for dispensation from that, and it has been granted to have those services at 1 Jefferson. And the some of the other things are generally started with complaints. And I can tell you that myself, I have not received complaints, particularly about the parking or events taking place. So to answer your question, and I would have to go back and look at the police reports and see if any police reports were filed as a result of complaints with the usage of that property. But yes, they are permitted to have minion. They are permitted to have up to 5 events a year. They are permitted to. They were not permitted to have the High Holy Days there. But again, so that is the as far as the settlement agreement goes, and the question about whether it's been enforced, there hasn't particularly been a reason that I'm aware of to enforce it. But I'm happy to look into it further. And also, so therefore no fines have been levied against 1 Jefferson. So, but please send the rest of your questions and be happy to take a look at them. I think they also assist with Mr. Kuntz's questions as well. So that's all I have at this time.
Mr. Cantor, do you want to?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a report tonight, but I'm happy to take questions from the committee. I know a question was raised regarding the developers agreement that's up for approval tonight as to no time frame. Section 24 of the agreement does provide that it does provide a performance guarantee and a performance bond of 36 months, and that's section 24 of the developers agreement. I believe that was in the packet. I really didn't have any further report tonight, but if there's any questions from the committee, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. The Township Committee will now consider consent agenda resolutions. Are there any comments from the committee in regard to any items listed on the consent agenda? May I have a motion to approve resolution 24-273 through resolution 24-284, which are listed on the consent agenda?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cullen?
Yes.
Ms. Brutus?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakamandy?
Yes.
Mr. Stoller?
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano?
Yes. So we have public hearing, right? Okay. The 2025 Melbourne Short Hills Business Organization Budget was introduced by the Township Committee at our November 12th, 2024 meeting. May I have a motion to approve resolution 24-282, which authorizes the township to read the 2025 Short Hills Business, God bless you, Organization Budget by title?
So moved.
I move that resolution
sorry.
24-282 be approved.
I second the motion of resolution 24-282.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Cullen?
Yes.
Ms. Brutus?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakamandy?
Yes.
Mr. Stoller?
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano?
Yes. I will now refer to Mr. Steve Grillo, the Executive Director, for any final comments on the 2025 Melbourne Short Hills Business Organization Budget.
Good evening, Mayor Romano, members of the committee. Since this is the last meeting of the year, before we get into our very brief, I promise, presentation on questions from the last meeting, I just want to make a few personal remarks and also on behalf of the Explore Board. Mayor Romano, thank you for your leadership this year and congratulations to your daughter on her wedding this weekend. The entire Explore team wishes her nothing but the best. Committeeman Stoller, thank you for your amazing involvement as our liaison this year. You came on the board with an open mind, a willingness to listen, learn, and get involved. And the board and the staff really appreciate your commitment, and we hope that you return as our liaison in 2025. Committeeman Cohen, thank you for your support and your engagement, and your always very pointed questions. And it's always lovely to see your wife and your son at our events in the Town Hall Plaza. Committeewoman Prupus, thank you for 6 years of service, including your time in 2021, which was a formative time for our organization. It was our first year, and I don't know if you remember, but 7 a.m. The day after the storm, you and me and Alex stepped off of Town Hall steps and walked into destruction. But you were an amazing leader as our mayor and allowed us to raise and distribute $420,000 to 75 businesses. And every single one of those businesses either came back in its previous or in a new form. And it's a remarkable testament to our town. So I hope you can somewhat forget that awful day, but I hope that you remember the good aspects of it. And Deputy Mayor Sakamandy, thank you for your service this year and best of luck in 2025. So based on the discussion at our November budget introduction, Jackie Lieberberg and Richard Wasserman and I will provide responses to those questions this evening. Since we did the budget in its entirety, we'll make this fairly quick. I want to begin with a request from Committeewoman Prupus to ensure robust communication about tonight's vote. As I mentioned previously, Explore hosted 2 public sessions at our September and October board meetings to discuss the budget, and all stakeholders were invited to attend the October meeting multiple times. In response to her request at the November 12th meeting, in addition to the township's official mailing of the notice of tonight's hearing to all property owners, Explore developed a 4-page memo on the budget. We sent it in our weekly email blast to a distribution list of over 500 people. We did 2 social media posts about the hearing. We reached out to over 150 stakeholders who received direct assistance from us this year, and went door to door and handed out the memo to over 250 businesses. As of tonight, we've received 54 letters of support, which I've shared with the committee. They're all on your desk and I've shared them electronically. There's also a number of stakeholders here this evening who would like to express their support. That represents all 5 districts, as well as business owners, property owners, and residents. Concerning some of the letters in opposition that Mr. Stoller referenced, we understand some people are totally opposed to the SID. But for those who feel like they are not receiving optimal benefit, we do encourage them to reach out and set up a meeting. One of the best parts about our job is that we get to understand the unique needs of the 515 businesses that we represent and how we can leverage that to expand and refine our services. We're always learning, and we're learning from the businesses as we meet them. And so with that, I'd like to invite our chairwoman, Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg, to the podium to discuss the responses from community outreach, as well as some comments relative to Mr. Sacamandi and Ms. Prupus's questions about our governance and operation.
Thank you, Steve. Good evening, members of the Township Committee. Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg, former mayor, trustee, and chair of Explore. To begin, I want to just say that I am so very grateful to have had a ringside seat at this table since the inception of the bid. And I'm very happy to add to Mr. Grillo's comments. We are a wonderful community. I am very proud that we have been able to provide innovative programming, business guidance to an eclectic group of stakeholders throughout the 5 districts. During our outreach for tonight's meeting, I learned that while many SID property owners are very supportive of the services of Explore, some are afraid to voice their opinions publicly. I hope that this will subside in 2025 as we all continue to work together to create an even more collaborative community. Secondly, at the November meeting, there were some questions with respect to how our current SID operates compared to the DMDA and the existing Chamber of Commerce. These are excellent questions. Tara, I know you remember the DMDA. And as a board member, I see that there is some confusion on social media, and the public deserves a good time to explain the difference. The DMDA was a business improvement district before Explore and focused exclusively on the downtown. As of today, 221 of the 515 businesses in the SID, 43%, are located outside of the downtown and utilize Explore services. While the DMDA served its purpose, I don't believe that the model could have worked today in our competitive environment and professionalized world of economic development. We all know that people's shopping habits have changed dramatically. Explore's structure has addressed many of those issues that handicap the DMDA, including a part-time director, overhead that in a separate location, to name a few. I believe that we learned lessons from the DMDA, which helped us launch a successful SID. Additionally, there are roles about the role of Explore, the SID, versus the Chamber of Commerce. Our local chamber is a valuable tool in Millburn, and the chamber and the SID work as partners. This is a rare situation because in many communities, they're often very adversarial. Some of the key differences between Explore and the chamber is that the chamber is a membership organization with a part-time director and a limited budget. The chamber also can serve businesses that Explore cannot. This includes businesses from other towns, home-based businesses. By working together, Explore and the chamber have helped each of their stakeholders expand their relationships. Without a professionally run SID, an adequately funded one, Millburn would be far behind our surrounding communities in terms of economic development and small business support. This would not only hurt local businesses and commercial property owners, but also our home values, our overall tax base, and community engagement. A thriving business environment, which I believe we have today, is an essential part of our overall exceptional community. At last, I'd like to provide you with a few KPIs for the 2024 calendar year so far. Real estate assistance, 36 requests by 26 individual entities. Navigating the government process, 65 requests by 43 individual entities. General business advocacy, 62 requests, 48 individual entities. I firmly believe without Explore to answer the phone, interface with the business community, and provide knowledgeable assistance, many of these 163 requests would have gone unserved. I'd like to invite now Explore Board Member and former Deputy Mayor Richard Wasserman to the podium.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Good evening. Happy holidays, everybody. And I also want to start by thanking everybody for their service. I want to thank Tara for her hard work over 6 years. I mean, we kind of started out together, and I just want to wish you well as you move forward. In many communities, special improvement districts are limited to marketing and events, but here in Millburn, we are lucky to have a team with a diverse skill set. The Explore team works with the township in a variety of ways to reduce the burden on township staff, as well as to support the business community. Explore's executive director serves on the Township Parking Committee, and in the past has served on the Essex Street Two-Way Conversion Committee and the Taylor Park Gateway Committee, ensuring that business and property owners have a voice. Explore has also served as a project lead for the township projects, including the parking efficiency study, which led to more parking spaces downtown, a signage improvement project for the parking deck downtown and Upper Millburn Avenue, and the creation of the Millburn Art Alley, which is required to be a pedestrian space. This year, the team has worked in collaboration with Alex, Tim, and Public Works to design, order, and install holiday lighting throughout the city in a number of locations. Furthermore, another major accomplishment this year was Millburn's acceptance into the Main Street, New Jersey program. According to state and national program rules, communities with over 10,000 residents must have a full-time director in place to manage programs, and the director must meet professional qualifications and training requirements in an annual basis in order to maintain the designation. The designation will allow Explore to participate in grants for infrastructure and beautification initiatives. One of the key reasons for Explore's successful application to the Main Street, New Jersey on behalf of the township is because we have a qualified full-time executive director funded by both resident and commercial owner funds. This is an investment in human capital that will result in long-term funding for the township. Make no mistake, this could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in grants for the township as we go forward. Finally, and perhaps most significant, was the role that Explore played in September 2021 in the wake of Hurricane Ida. Explore's work included storm preparation with businesses, and they continue to go door to door before storm events to assist with prep work, and then met with over 100 businesses after the storm to assess damage and coordinate with affected businesses. Explore organized a fundraising drive that raised over $200,000 that was matched by the township. And then we managed to review of assistance requests, distributed funds within a month, and pass a financial review that was required by the township. None of this would have been possible without a 501c3 nonprofit designation and a full-time dedicated director. While we still have been fortunate that we have not had another Ida, I think we should take solace in knowing that we have a team in place should another storm occur to both help in preparation and recovery. Please also know that our director serves on the Township OEM team. Speaking of our nonprofit status and related governance, at the last meeting, both Deputy Mayor Saccomondi and Committeewoman Prupis asked questions about board formation and assessment calculations. These are all fair questions to ask now that the organization is 4 years old and has proven its value, and has also learned real-world lessons about functionalities that could not have been predicted when we passed ordinance in 2020. Our board and staff would be more than happy to meet with the Township Committee to discuss how the Township ordinance is written in order to meet the evolving service needs of our organization, stakeholders, and community. However, this should not occur until after pending litigation is concluded. We welcome the opportunity to continue to work together to support our mutual goals in the township. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hereby open the public hearing for any comments on the 2025 Milburn Short Hills Business Organization budget. I just ask that we all just be respectful, please.
My name is Jeffrey Feld. I'm a resident. I'm also counsel, superseding counsel in the litigation that was just referred to. This is our annual dance regarding the SID, but this year is different. First, we have a new municipal attorney. We just heard about the Main Street, New Jersey application. In February, the committee delegated to Mr. Grillo and the Explore Group the ability to write this application. When will someone disclose that the state told the township that they had to amend the boundaries of the SID, the Main Street application? The Main Street application that was approved, the boundaries are the original downtown area. There are 5 districts. And the question is, and based on notices that are coming out of other municipalities, best practices, that each district is entitled to its own bid in SID. The 4 other districts are subsidizing the downtown. As I have been saying for 4 years, under best practices, we're supposed to have a director of economic planning and development. That's the first thing I told Mr. Grillo when he came in May 2021. We don't have one. That's best practices. A lot of the work he does should be done in-house. It should not be paid by other taxpayers. Other taxpayers, we pay 50% of the salary that was never really told to anyone during COVID, in addition to the various other districts. I think the public should know that the township or the SID has ever received a written legal opinion as to the validity of the SID under state law. At the last meeting, I asked if they received a written opinion as to the budget. This budget is unique. It uses $20,000 of carryover rollover. But if you look at the statute prohibits that. When I say things are different, pretrial exhibits and pleadings have been filed. We're waiting for the judge to sign us a trial date. I don't know when that will happen, but all of you have received it. Some of the exhibits show you how retaliation was given to people that dissented. Criminal complaints were filed against people who dissented. That should not stop. At the last meeting a year ago, our BA said, yes, there are problems in the way the ordinance is drafted. Don't burn down the barn. For 1 year, we have not cured those deficiencies. The issue we have, and we also have preliminary conflict of interest issues.
Thank you.
Can I have a little more time? You give them like an hour to present. Can
Thank
we
you.
put our
Thank you
tapes
for
in?
your comments.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Lily Bryan. I'm one of the directors at Studio 1200 at 511 Milburn Avenue in Short Hills. And I'm here to support Steve and Amanda and the great work they do. In particular, I want to point out something they did recently, which was to make these little videos of all the stores in town. And we have about 27 employees. We are extremely hardworking. And when Steve and Amanda walked through our door, you would think a rock star came in. The morale was so big and they felt, oh, we're getting filmed, you know, and it was so exciting. And our Instagram blew up, which is fantastic because it also helps me in recruiting. You know, we're cool, we're hip. We were on a video and these 27 employees then go out and spend money in town. And also Steve and Amanda, they were contagious because when we had an incentive this past year to build up our mailing list. So what we did was we went around to every store and we bought $20 gift certificates, and whoever helped us give any employees that helped us build our list, we had them pick from one of the stores in town. So he's got us all excited about downtown. He's made us feel like we really matter, even though we've been here for so long. We've designed so many homes and businesses in town. We really feel like we matter. And I wholeheartedly hope that you approve his budget so he can continue
is fantastic work. Thank you.
Christine Best, Milburn Township. I probably am gonna be hated by everybody for saying this, but because I'm center on this whole issue. I think that Explore has a lot of benefits to the town. I've seen a lot of improvements, happy events, and goodness come out of it. So I'm sure there's some people who will hate me for saying that, but that's how I feel. My biggest concern tonight in actually approving the budget is that there are no benchmarks. What Jackie listed is not a benchmark in the retail industry, or KPI. And what I want to talk to you about is what I really think needs to be done is we need to have a calendar. It needs to have each day listed. It needs to have totals by week to date. It needs to have totals by month to date. It needs to have totals by year to date. Okay, we need to create a TYLY, which is this year, last year, retail terminology. We need to track total top line sales. And maybe we can't do that. Maybe retailers don't want to share that. Maybe they can share it confidentially with Steve Grillo's organization, but like looking at total revenue. So when an event goes off, you have your expense, you have your in-house expense, okay, which is Steve's back office expense. Okay, you also have your expenses to actually buy the goods that you're going to have, or the vendors you're going to have there, and the equipment that you're going to have. And then, you know, you have the event, and so you have to list, was the weather bad? Because sometimes events are just bad because the weather's bad, and you have to keep a history. And it's really helpful, and that's how you develop true benchmarks and KPIs. So having a TYLY, top line sales and gross margin would be really helpful if you could cumulatively look at it and then break it down by basically not category of business. Well, you could do it by category of business as well, because we have different categories of business, from restaurants to bakeries to shoe stores to clothing stores and gift stores, et cetera. But I think what Jeff made a very good point is that each district should probably, you know, pay into what they get. And so I really support Ms. Urso, you know, in her lawsuit, because she feels that she doesn't get the benefit. And I think we have to look at the benchmarks by each area to see, you know, who's getting more benefit. That's just my personal opinion. Some people won't like that. And I also think we need to include marketing expenses and what those are in the KPIs. And so you would look at an event's total ROI with the marketing expenses also, so to see that and see the total top line revenue, gross margin for the event. So that's how you would do a true KPI on something. So I also think the merchants should be paying for this, not the property owners, because they're the ones who are actually benefiting. The property owners are just collecting rent. I also want to see turn rates on actual businesses coming in and coming out, because we say, oh, we got all these new people in. I want to see how many times people are leaving and then coming in, because turn rates matter. So the more turn we have in terms of people coming in and out, doesn't mean that's positive. So it's just, I want, you know, a little bit more effort in that area. And I would like to see actually the budget increased.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We're back. Dorothy Kelly, resident of Milburn Short Hills.
Merritt Epstein, resident of Short Hills and the vice president of the Milburn Short Hills Historical Society.
I am the president of Friends of the Milburn Library. I'm on the Milburn Library Board of Trustees, and I am the curator of the Milburn Short Hills Historical Society Museum. So we are speaking in multiple capacities, and I would like to offer my support for Explore and the SID. I have had the pleasure of working with Steve now for about 3 years directly on the Founders Day program. And he has really invigorated it. He has helped us really make our town known and cares quite a bit about the history. He's also, they've brought together so many diverse ideas and programs. And in terms of the library, they have been so helpful in community outreach. I think all of this enhances our town in such important ways that we just, it's made such a difference to me living here and me trying to spread the wonderfulness about Milburn in the community. So I strongly support everything they've been doing and would like to see their budget approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is James Vukanovich. I own Milburn Indoor Golf Club across the street from this building. I don't, it feels so divisive. I don't really want to like take a side. I do want to speak just real quick on the attack on the KPIs. Briefly, I went to the top ranked business school in the country. I've spent time in Silicon Valley where that acronym really became popular. And I can tell you, most of those companies make up their own KPIs and then they track them over time. So viewing something like there being a specific KPI and it's like written down on ChatGPT for you is just, you know, not true in my opinion. So just to share my story, it's no exaggeration to say that my business wouldn't exist without Steve Grillo and Explore Milburn. From the moment I decided I wanted to open an indoor golf experience in Milburn, my search for information quickly led me to Steve and his team. He provided invaluable insights into the town. And to be honest, after learning about the challenges of obtaining the necessary approvals, I initially chose to pursue a location elsewhere. My first attempt was to do everything myself, but I soon realized that it wasn't the best approach. After taking a step back and opening a location in Montclair, I returned to Steve with a fresh perspective. I told him I was committed to making Milburn work and asked him for his help and his guidance. He offered excellent advice and connected me with trusted local professionals, including planners and attorneys. While the approval process in Milburn proved to be more complex than it was in Montclair, the experience ultimately made me feel much more connected to the community and resulted in a better product and service for its residents. At first, I was a bit frustrated with the process, but after adjusting my approach, I came to appreciate it. And I'm certain I wouldn't have had such positive outcomes without Steve and his team's support. I can say that in regards to churn, we're doing fine. We're first quarter, we're already profitable on a recurring basis. And so we're excited to be in Milburn and don't expect to be leaving anytime soon. Thank you very much.
Hello, Jean Pasternak. I'm just going to finish the last point that Jeff wanted to make. He said, where is the legal opinion on the disqualifying conflicts of interest of both Tara and Ben? And also that everything that you're hearing tonight is about the downtown, and that is essentially a problem. This is my comment. First, I wanted to say thank you for the hard work of all the volunteers of Explore. Your efforts are genuinely appreciated, even by people who have criticisms. The feedback may not be in support of all aspects of Explore, but it's not personal criticism. It should be taken as constructive feedback. And if we really are all for community and working together for the betterment of this town, that feedback should be handled professionally and be welcomed by the Explore ED, Mr. Grillo, and the board members. I have to say, I have not experienced that, and I know others that haven't, and I think we can fix that. That's something fixable. There are always some deficiencies in every organization, and it would be arrogant to think otherwise. We all want success for your organization and our town, but we only can get that by working together to solve problems. Explore is asking for an increased budget for this fourth year. The 501c3 has been in existence that long. While they have successfully increased their activities for businesses, especially downtown and Town Hall Plaza, I know I've asked repeatedly every year, what is the bottom line impact? What metrics can you share with taxpayers who contribute to both the salaries for the director and the underwriting of the Town Hall Plaza, amongst other things? Can you tell us how does this impact our town, our bottom line? Each year there has been an increase, but no explanation about the bottom line impact to the township. Yes, there are soft things that we can look at and say, great, it's been a big help, but it really would help to have some actual concrete data. Also, I think Jeff pointed out there is a lawsuit, and I think it should be exposed to the public that there is this lawsuit in existence. And it's basically essentially about conflict with potentially conflicts with the state statutes governing and forming such entities. The downtown businesses benefit vastly more than the other districts. So the question is, why should these other districts subsidize the downtown businesses? Why don't we just say that out in the open and talk about it? I also want to point out my concern about someone who I do respect greatly, Jackie Lieberberg. She is my counterpart as chair of the Democratic Committee. I think heading the board of Explore has some conflicts. There are taxes or assessment monies involved in the determination of the distribution of those resources to various businesses and groups. And to me, in my capacity as chair of the Republican Party, I would not want to be involved in this because of just the appearance of a conflict in terms of dealing with monies, taxpayer monies.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
My name is Camilo. I own La Strada in Melbourne, and I've been a resident in Melbourne for 2 years now. I just wanted to say thank you for Steve and Amanda for helping La Strada in particularly this year and last year. I own La Strada for the past 2 years, and I've been through a lot. Like everybody knows, we had a fire, we had so many things going on. And just to know that I had their support, that was great. I just wanted to thank you. Thank you.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Vicky Powell, and my family has been part of the Milburn business community for 40 years and a resident for 25. So my roots to Milburn run deep. I'm here tonight to voice my strong support for Explore Milburn Short Hills budget and to express how essential this organization is to our business community. Explore does so much more than simply host events to draw people into town. They actively maintain the public spaces, support beautification efforts, and are indispensable advocate for our local businesses. They serve as the first line of support whenever we face challenges, be it responding to issues that arise during hurricanes or helping us make the most of the holiday season. The work they do directly benefits the community and creates a more vibrant, welcoming downtown and the other districts. Explore is our voice when we have questions, concerns, or even complaints. They are the ones we turn to. They provide the platform for our needs and help ensure that our voices are heard, even when it may not always be convenient. Without Explore, there'd be no training classes on social media, no influencers hired, limited information about the NJEDA and other state programs. They are needed to support the business community. Despite the vital role they play, there has been some ongoing debate about the township support for the organization. To those who may doubt their value, I would ask, would you prefer a ghost town? Because without the support for our local businesses, restaurants, boutiques, service providers, this is what we risk. A thriving business district is essential for a thriving community, and Explore has been invaluable in supporting us and keeping our doors open. The deputy mayor mentioned speaking with a few businesses to gauge their views on the organization. Well, I can tell you that not everyone's voice has been heard. I personally sent an email in support of Explore and never received a response from you. I've had only one member of the township committee come to my store and ask for my opinion, and it wasn't my neighbor. Yet I'm here tonight to ensure my support is clearly voiced. Regarding the township's portion of the budget, the funds this organization, I believe it amounts to approximately $7 per household. For the immense value they provide, this is a modest investment. Yes, their work supports the business community, but it also enriches the entire town, enhancing the quality of life for the residents and creating a community that we can all enjoy and be proud of. In closing, I urge you to support the organization and its budget. The business community may not always be present at every meeting, but we are watching and we care deeply about the future of this town. I hope you choose to value and support the business that have been here for decades and invest in our town. And that brings vibrancy and life to our community. Thank you. Happy birthday, Alex.
Anyone before we go online? Anyone?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nadège Nicole. I am a resident and a commercial property owner in town. I could talk about being also a merchant in 2018, which corresponds to the time where the DMDA ceased to operate. And at the time, it was impossible to find any support for any processes, procedure. There was no marketing, there was no events, there was nothing. And Tara, you approached a few merchants who were trying to get together to support one another and ask if we would form a organization, and we declined
because it is not a volunteer job, it is a full-time job, and it also takes a lot of skills which we didn't have. So from firsthand experience, this is a full-time job. I could talk about the fact that I am a property owner and that I reach out to Steve on a regular basis to ask for help on processes and on procedures. Jackie, I thought you were going to say there were 5 million calls and only one person, and that was me. I could talk about being a volunteer at Girls' Night Out and how very proud we are that we bring people from all the neighboring towns who come and shop and dine in town. I could talk about the fact that I am a resident and that I think the work that Explore does with all the events make this community vibrant and lively, and it's well worth the $7 a year. But I think all this has been said. So instead of talking about this, I just want to say to Steve and Amanda that I know you work really hard on a continuous basis to make this town a better place. You're true professionals. You stretch every dollar to its maximum. You are very knowledgeable, and you do all this with grace and with a smile. And that whatever is thrown at you, you keep your heads up and you have a lot of class. So I want you to know you are valued, you are needed, you are assets to this town, and we need you, and we thank you. And to the Township Committee, I would like to ask that you please approve the budget for the seed. Thank you very much.
Anyone else before we go? Oh, sorry, Charlie.
No, that's fine. Charlie Bambara, resident of Milburn Short Hills for 28 years. Stepping back from this and viewing it, I think a lot of the consternation on the part of the residents is somewhat of a lack of transparency on where the funding's going, which districts are receiving what monies. And so I think, as Jean pointed out toward the end of what she was talking about, I think, and as Christine pointed out, better accounting of the metrics and better accountability on where the monies are being spent would certainly make it a lot more palatable for the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone on?
Good evening. Is that okay? Oh, you going online? Perfect. It's okay.
All right, that's okay. Go.
I'm right side up. I came here for you today, Mr. Cohen. So unfortunately, and I do appreciate that you're giving me some extra time. I want to say my name is Perry Urso, but I'm a Nelly. And I'm sorry that, you know, some people have different opinions. I stand firmly on taxation without representation. It's not a matter of what's being done, who's doing it, how they're doing it. It's where they're doing it. And we have 5 districts, and I have asked on multiple occasions, dates, times, locations of where these events are. And I was told by the attorney of the SID board that they do not possess this type of information. So how you get some of these KPIs and stuff going if you don't know where your events are, what type of events, it's kind of interesting. I feel it's most important that I read my first statement from today, because I just need to clarify as far as what happens when somebody speaks and you're the minority amongst, you know, the rest of the people, and a majority. And I think if you're going to pass a budget tonight, you should be very clear that you know where the people that are, whether they're in favor or not, whether they're a property owner or they're a merchant, and if or they pay and are responsible to pay the assessment, and what district they are from. So I think that's very important before you. And I'm listening, and a majority is clearly within the downtown. I wanted to address a false statement about the SID executive director during the November 12th the original SID budget hearing. The executive director claimed that I'm the only property owner who constantly expresses my displeasure, but I never got on a knock on the door to see if we wanted to talk about that. However, this is untrue. My family and I currently own 5 commercial properties, represent 10 storefronts, including mixed use, within the Upper Milburn Avenue district. Since 2020, I've collaborated with property owners on Upper Milburn Avenue
who some are publicly silent and do not support the special assessment ordinance on commercial properties. Many share their concerns about the taxation without representation and oppose subsidizing districts and businesses exempt from the SID tax. Awareness of the SID budget has been limited, and it was only through the recommendation of Committeewoman Krupas, thank you so much, for directing the executive director to notify once again all the property owners and merchants of this hearing. I received letters from property owners opposing the 2025 SID budget. Retaliation is a real issue. As evidenced during the November 12th Township Committee meeting, the exchange between the executive director and Deputy Mayor Sacramenti displayed the lack of leadership maintaining decorum. Critical portion of this discussion were omitted from the approved minutes. I have written you all first in February and once again on December 4th, without receiving a simple response, with the exception of on the end receipt.
Ms.
Just from a
Urso,
few.
Since you had technical difficulties, I'm gonna give you another 3 minutes.
I know you're gonna
Well-
pass the budget, but thank you so
No,
much.
I'm going to, because you
You're
had
very
a-
gracious and I
You
do
had a hard
appreciate that.
time with your phone, so I'm going to.
And I am deeply touched by that, thank you. So therefore, the exchange between the executive director and Deputy Mayor Sacramenti displayed a lack of leadership in maintaining decorum. Critical portions of this discussions were omitted from the approved minutes. I have written to all of you, first in February, and once again in December, without receiving a single response, with the exception, again, I am received. If any property owners experience unwarranted inspections, disruptions, or notices as a result of their opposition, it will confirm the abuse of power and retaliation. The Bear property lawsuit further highlights troubling behavior, with the exhibits showing that the executive director and sadly our former mayor, our current SID chair, filed complaints against dissenting property owners. Clear examples of lawfare. We know that you all will pass the SID budget this evening. However, dismissing Mr. Feld's warning emails is truly a mistake. I would like to there was one part of, I'm privy of a letter that was circulated as far as people, seeking help. While the introduction, and this is something that went out by the executive director, which I did not receive myself. While the introduction of the vote passed 4-1, nothing is never guaranteed. If the budget is not approved on December 17th, Explore will go out of business before the end of January. Explore will go out of business by the end of January. So I leave you with keeping in mind merchants and what they're going through, and they're struggling. And I think equally, if you're representing 5 districts, despite people's differences, we all deserve a seat at the table, which we have not personally been invited to, and a knock on my door. And it's very sad that you have all, or most of you, or some of you, have declined our offer from May 7th. I think this all could have been resolved and fairly done a mediation and not litigation. Again, I thank you for your time. You're very gracious. And Tara, I think it was happy birthday to you too. And happy birthday, Alex. So happy birthday, Tara. Happy birthday.
Now we can.
My birthday was yesterday.
Good evening. Here you go.
Good evening. Sarah Sherman, Milburn resident. I want to applaud the SID, its board, and Steve Grillo on their recent Main Street, New Jersey designation. For those of us who remember the chaos of the last iteration of the DMDA, this is a proud moment for downtown Milburn. Mr. Wasserman mentioned it, but I'd like to remind residents of the important work of the SID after Tropical Storm Ida in 2021. You'll remember that Milburn Avenue was a sea of mud. We had Governor Murphy at the corner of Milburn and Maine with a number of other dignitaries and elected officials, and they went around to the various businesses. Explore raised over $200,000, which was matched by the township to help SID businesses affected by the storm. And the SID sponsored a fashion show fundraiser, providing money to SID businesses as well as others. You may remember the famous muddy dress which made it to national news outlets. Milburn is fortunate to have Explore working on behalf of its businesses, especially in times of need, as we experienced in the aftermath of Ida, or as the La Strada owner mentioned after their fire. Milburn residents and many of its businesses were in dire need of assistance after Ida, and the CID was there to help. I'll mention also that Explore, Steve always makes sure that they come to flood mitigation public meetings and educates local businesses about hurricane preparedness. So in closing, Explore is an invaluable resource to the township and should receive the Township Committee's continued support. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Whoop.
Camera.
Hi.
Can
Can
you
you
put
hear
your camera? Yes, I just can't see you. Oh.
What happened?
I don't know. I don't know if your camera's on or your camera's not on.
It says it's on.
Oh, maybe you have a privacy screen on? You have a privacy screen on?
I do not. I don't know.
There might be a physical switch on your device there.
Yeah, I get, you have to have your video on.
I have my audio and my video showing is
Yeah.
on.
It must be some type of a block you have on there so that your video doesn't go, your camera doesn't go on.
Call back with your phone.
Yeah, let me call.
Call back with
no,
your, call back
no.
with your phone.
That won't work because I have my notes on my phone. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Good evening. I think you're muted.
Okay, Nancy Stone, I'm in the car, I was coming home from New York working. It's Christmas time, the holidays, Hanukkah's coming up, so as a successful business over 30 years in Milburn, I wanted to call in support of the people that are not for the CID. I am supportive of a special improvement district or anything to improve businesses, but the way the organization stands as it is a joke. I have personally not benefited one iota. As a resident, yes, I'll pay my $7, I guess, if that's how it comes down to, but I get zero for it. I'd rather donate the money to my temple or to an organization that I choose to donate my money to. I am also getting a rent increase this year because of the tax assessment. And again, in Perry's quote, taxation without representation, this organization serves of no benefit to me, but that's irrelevant because if it served the community, I would support it because sometimes you have to support a community in order for it to thrive. And I can only tell you that I was also a victim of Steve's harassment with a police report because I went to town hall to complain about it, a coffin that he put in front of Saigon Cafe on Essex Street. And they were taking selfie boxes. It was the tackiest thing I've ever seen in marketing in my life. And Alex McDonald was gracious enough to respect me as a longtime business owner and have that damn thing removed from the street and moved it, unfortunately, uptown to Upper Milburn Avenue. The town, Upper Milburn Avenue, is so dark and dingy. It is so sad. No snowflakes, no nothing. I mean, it's just dismal. And this is a very, very small group of people that seem to be benefiting from it. And that's lovely. And if they want it, they should pay for it like anything else in life. You get what you pay for, but they should be able to write the checks. And as a business owner who signs the front of the check, this is one organization I would not sign the front of the check on. I can also tell you that I find it ironic that I was standing here 6 years ago, and Jackie was the deciding vote to pass the budget. And I gave her my commitment that if this organization, I found it to be inefficient in any way and not serving the business community, that I would end it. And I honored that obligation, that commitment, I should say. And this is the same thing here. It's serving very few businesses that seem to want to take advantage of it, and that's their choice, and that's a wonderful thing. Then they should pay more than their fair share of it, because I can tell you, doesn't do a thing for me.
Thank you, Ms. Stone.
Wait, one more thing, and then I have
I'm
to say.
sorry, your time
No,
is up. I'm sure I'll hear it. Anyone else? Yes. Oh.
Yes. I'm still.
Is there somebody coming? Somebody coming? Okay, wait, give me 1 second.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Have a piece.
Can't.
You're up.
Thank you very much. The only thing I have to say is concerning, makes decisions concerning closing of Main Street. I mean, the CID or whoever does that. In the past, the business owners, some business owners wanted to close Main Street. The board finally made the right decision and decided that closing Main Street during the summertime was not the best idea. Maybe a life could be saved. I commend the board by overruling some of the decisions that some of the members of the, whatever committee it is over there, the CID, thought might be beneficial of closing Main Street. Petitions, what was it, 500 petitions, signatures? I remember hearing that. A deputy mayor and a mayor came up here and said, look at all these people who decided it would be a good idea to close Main Street. I'm a little old, but I do remember that. But the board decided maybe those people were not thinking properly. So there's some decisions that the people don't make that are proper. So I'm saying that it was a great idea not to close Main Street this year, possibly save a life or two. Just saying that there are other opinions out there. Thank you very much. And have a great new year.
Thank you.
And oh, by the way, I think that the board did a very good job this year, and I give it a passing grade.
Is there anybody else? Anyone else like to make a public comment? No? I have to close public comment. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. My public comment?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Amanda Dean. I am the Marketing Events Director for Explore Milburn Short Hills. Normally, I do not speak at these meetings. However, I wanted to share my thoughts and gratitude with you all. It is a privilege to serve this community through Explore. We continue to create and implement impactful events, educational initiatives, special projects, business development and marketing campaigns. We do not do this alone. The data we collect and share about how we work with and support all 5 districts and the community at large is only part of the picture. To complement the statistics, we invited our stakeholders to share letters of support and be present here today to share their individual experiences and perspectives. These individuals have taken the time to support our 2025 budget during one of the busiest and most profitable times of the year for small businesses. Thank you all so much for making that sacrifice today. The human aspect of what Explore does is what connects all of us and brings an even deeper meaning to what we do. The relationships, the bonds, the trust, the knowing that we are on the other side of the phone, an email, or available to pop into a shop to have those important discussions is something we take pride in. We are professionals that are invested in this community. This work is about being a part of something bigger, giving all we have to help make this town prosperous, inviting, and a place residents are proud to call home. We have worked extremely hard to get to know businesses and community organizations, to engage shoppers and visitors alike. We understand that every dollar counts. We appreciate and respect people's time, and we are in a constant state of improvement. We are evaluating, researching, listening, innovating, and pivoting as we go and as conditions change in real time. We are stewards of this community and do not take our roles or impacts lightly. As I said, we do not do this alone. We could not be successful if we did not work with this multifaceted community, from our colleagues at Town Hall and DPW, to our community partners, to you, the Township Committee, to our volunteers, and to the hundreds of businesses in the CID. We want to thank all of you for making 2024 an amazing year. We look forward to serving Milburn Short Hills through Explore in the coming years. Thank you.
Sarah says on, yeah, I believe so.
What?
I'm being told that, Dom Urso is online waiting to speak.
That's the icon? We don't.
She needs to put her name on it.
She needs to put her name on there. Anyone else sitting that would like to speak? No, she needs to put her name on their phone. Okay, I will now close public comment. Mr. Grillo, do you want to address any comments or answer any questions?
No, not this time.
May I have a motion to approve resolution 24-283, which authorizes adoption of the 2025 Milburn Short Hills Business Organization budget?
Before we do that, I have some comments I'd like to make. So I want to thank everyone that came out, both in support and against. One thing that I've noticed is that it certainly seems like the CID does provide value for a good number of businesses in town. There were a lot of emails in support. I counted about 16 properties that were not in support. However, you know, it seems to me that I think more of an effort needs to be made on the part of CID, specifically the CID director, to try and work with those dissenters and turn them into fans, right? I think there's a lot of good that the CID does, but I think there's some structural issues as well. So Mr. Wasserman, I really would like to take you up on your offer to sit down and hash those out. I think that with some modifications to the structure, we could avoid the whole taxation without representation issue. If businesses had some ability to vote in a couple members of the CID board directly, I think that would be beneficial and that could resolve that issue. I understand there's ongoing litigation, but I don't think that looking at the CID and making improvements to its structure necessarily is going to cause any problems with litigation. You can certainly get legal to weigh in on that, but you know, as long as you don't admit that you did anything wrong to begin with and you're just making an improvement, you can make an improvement, right? Without putting the town at risk. Amanda, I must say, I have heard nothing but good things about you from everyone. Even from the people that don't support the CID, I have not had a single person have anything negative to say about you. Now, on the other hand, Mr. Grillo, while you certainly have a lot of fans, I did receive an email the other day that I think is important to be shared. It's only a few sentences, so I'm going to read it. It goes, you should be aware that the executive director of Explore Milburn had a few choice words for a few township residents on social media the other day. There was a post by one resident regarding the proposed increase in the CID budget. When a few residents stated their disapproval of Explore, the executive director, that's you, Mr. Grillo, called them arrogant and without using the words liars. He was basically a bully, which several folks have stated is his MO. We really want to support this type of behavior in our community. So I personally have also been a victim of Mr. Grillo's attitude. And Mr. Grillo, I really do think you need to think long and hard about how you interact with members of the community, and particularly members of the community that own commercial properties and are dissenters. You should be focused on trying to win them over, kill them with kindness. And I know it may grind down at you, right? But you have to try and be positive, and you need to try and help everyone in the community. And I hope that you'll take this opportunity to reflect on how you have conducted yourself and make improvements. Because I think if you did that, you'd have far fewer dissenters as well, okay? So to sum this up, I think that the SID does some good work. I think that there are legitimate concerns from some of these commercial property owners. I think we can address those concerns, but we have to be willing to come together, sit at the table, and figure that out. So, Mr. Wasserman, I'd love to take you up on that offer as soon as we can. Ms. Lieberberg, if you join in as well, I think that'd be great. And I want to not have this same conversation again next year. I don't want us to be in a position where we have people on both sides arguing about whether this should exist. What we should be talking about is how we can, have it expand and continue to help the community and the businesses. So that's my piece. And with that, I will cede the floor.
And actually, I want to say a couple words as well. Having sat on the board now, I'm going back next year. I've had a front row seat at what they're doing for this community. The feedback and the affection for the SID is bountiful. The best email I got all year was an email from a local owner who said that the SID bridged a gap and may keep his business, keep him in business. It's a pet store owner. He didn't have a website. He was fighting Amazon. He was getting crushed by the online rush, etc. The SID built him a website. They put him on an Instagram account. They put him in touch with Amazon to deliver local product to different folks. And just heartwarming and trying to help him. I don't know if he's going to survive, but just fantastic job. In terms of Christine Best, thank you so much for stepping up and saying those kind words, improving the budget. I'm sure if they had more money, I go through the KPIs religiously, help put them in place. It's very difficult to get revenue data, cost data, things along those lines, as Mr. James Vukanovich said with the Experiential Golf Center. I'm a little dismayed that I was called conflicted. If I'm conflicted, it's because I spend too much money in town, and my girls spend too much money in town, and my son. So it's just incredulous that that someone with some modicum of legal training would actually call me conflicted. Nancy Stone, when she was just cut off, she actually texted me and she said she also wanted to congratulate Donnie on his soon approaching end of the on the board because of your invaluable contributions to the town and such. So we appreciate that. Also, to the Ursos, I love like family. They catered my daughter's bar mitzvah. Nancy Stone, I love like family. She's building the most beautiful Hanukkah gifts for my children. I hope they're not watching tonight. And that's where she come bringing them back from New York. So I'm signing up with the Golf Experiential Center. Hopefully now that golf season's over. It's warm today though, and just the amount of outside dining. I went to just about every event for the Township Plaza. It was a big hit. The winter villages were fantastic. I can't tell you the amount of people who came up and thanked me and thanked the sponsors and thanked the Explorer for the job they did. So after that, just leave it there.
May I have a motion to approve resolution 24-283, which authorizes adoption of the 2025 Milburn Short Hills Business Organization budget?
So moved. Oh.
Yeah, I moved
I
that
don't
resolution.
just let me, so moved.
Okay, good.
Someone second it.
I second the motion of resolution 24-283.
Roll call vote.
Oh, don't,
I second it.
Yep, it's fine.
okay, may I have a roll call vote, please? I'm sorry.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Prufus? Yes. Deputy Mayor Sacramenti?
Out of respect for the few dissenters, I am going to vote no to stand in solidarity with them, but not saying no to the SID overall. So I vote no.
Mr. Stoller?
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano?
Yes.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Sacramenti, you are scheduled to sponsor ordinance 2692-24.
I present for consideration an ordinance entitled Ordinance Number 2692-24. Ordinance amending and supplementing the Township of Milburn Development Regulations and Zoning Ordinance. Tonight is the time set for the public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with law.
I declare the hearing open.
I move that this public hearing be closed and that the ordinance be adopted on final reading and that the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title as passed on final reading in accordance with law.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Oh.
Oh. Or was that? I don't know if her hand hasn't been lowered. I thought that was the iPhone from before. Let's see.
She's not coming on this one.
Yeah, I would just lower her hand and see if she raises it again. I don't
Okay.
think she's needing to comment on this one.
Okay. I don't know. Did anyone second?
Deputy Mayor was this.
Second. Second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Prufus? Yes. Deputy Mayor Sacramenti?
Yes.
Mr. Stoller?
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano?
Yes.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, you are scheduled to sponsor ordinance 2693-24. God bless you.
I present for consideration an ordinance entitled Ordinance Number 2693-24, an ordinance authorizing the Township of Milburn to execute a residential property lease for that certain property located on Block 4901, Lot 3 in the Township of Milburn. Tonight is the time set for public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with law.
I declare the hearing open.
Could you just define a little bit more?
Sure. So this one is concerning the Parasol House.
Okay, and what is the lease for it? Because I tried to find it. Is that too much to ask?
Mr. McDonald.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, what was the
It's
question?
not to put a cell tower on it, right?
No. This is a lease of the parcel house to the Milburn Short Hills Historical Society, which was the overall goal of purchasing that property and to allow them to run certain educational programs and other activities out of the parcel house.
Right, so I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading and that the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title as passed on final reading in accordance with the law.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Prufus? Yes. Deputy Mayor Sacramenti?
Yes.
Mr. Stoller?
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano?
Yes.
Thank you.
I present for consideration, this is ordinance 2694-24. I present for consideration an ordinance entitled Ordinance Number 2694-24, ordinance amending Chapter 7, Traffic of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Milburn. The proposed amendment to the Chapter 7 Traffic Code of Milburn's General Ordinances is intended to correct inaccuracies between the code and regulations displayed on the street. The purpose is also to establish several recommendations of the Milburn Police Traffic Bureau and Parking Ad Hoc Committee. These changes include reducing the parking time limit in Lot 12 from 1 hour to 30 minutes and codifying the mid-block crosswalk on Highland Avenue. Tonight is the time for a public hearing and final passage is advertised in accordance with law. I declare the hearing open. I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading and that the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title as passed on final reading in accordance with law. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Rufus? Yes. Deputy Mayor Sakamandy?
Yes.
Mr. Stoller?
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano?
Yes. Committeewoman Pruitt, you're scheduled to sponsor 2695-24.
I present for consideration an ordinance entitled Ordinance Number 2695-24, an ordinance authorizing the Township of Milburn to execute a cell tower and compound lease for that certain property located on Block 5401, Lot 1 in the Township of Milburn. Tonight is time set for public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with law.
I declare the hearing open.
Yes, I'm the only person, sad to say, but it's Christine Best again. I just wanted to, where exactly on that land is it going? I mean, it's a great place for it. I just wanted to ask the proximity to our water supply because frequency affects the water supply. Do you guys know how many, is it 1,500 feet from the water supply?
It is the water supply being the reservoir?
Yeah,
Yes,
I just was
more than
wondering.
1,500.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you.
I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading and the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title as passed on final reading in accordance with law.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Rufus?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakamandy?
Yes.
Mr. Stoller?
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano?
Yes.
Thank you.
Committeeman Stoll, you are scheduled to sponsor 2696-24.
Thank you, Mayor. I present for consideration an ordinance entitled Ordinance Number 2696-24. An ordinance of the Township of Milburn, County of Essex, authorizing the Township of Milburn to execute a lease agreement with Paper Mill Playhouse for 20 Brookside Drive, Milburn, New Jersey, 07041. Tonight is the time set for public hearing and final passage as advertised in accordance with the law.
I declare the hearing open.
Chair Phil, poet section, I just have some questions as to the drafting. The first is if you go to page 3, the rent and the commencement, or section 101, when will this lease commence? Because it's blank. Alex, do you have any idea when you think the closing will occur so this lease will become effective? Because in 101, it says commence the closing of the sale of the premises. I don't know when that will be. Also, it seems that there's no cross default with this lease. This lease is for what we requiring was like the parking lot, the former warehouse and parking lot. There is an existing lease that's referred to it, but if there's a default on the original lease, does this lease go into default? I don't see a cross default provision. Also, Article 15 was omitted. The reason I raise that is that under the original lease that was done in 2008, I think, that's a sale lease back. That Paper Mill always had the right to buy the property for what we did for the bond. That type of provision is not included in here. If you look at the rent, it seems like once the lease begins, almost like the first 3 years, it's $1 a year. And then it goes on for like 30 years at $50,000. When we started this discussion, this transaction was like a year ago. Originally, Paper Mill came in and said, forgive all the monies that are owed under the original lease. Then they said, give us new money of $7 million, of which a portion we're using to buy the property. I'm just trying to figure out how we ever recoup, if we were ever going to recoup the amount of the bond based on this rent payment. I don't see that. And I guess section 16.10, the township will have a voting member on the board. I don't know if that's part of the other agreement, but who will be that person? And if that provision was in existence of the original agreement, and we had a voting member, did that person have a conflict if he was on the board negotiating the original transaction? But I'd like to know historically what's gonna happen, when we anticipate to close, when we're gonna have a bond sale to pay for this, so we know when the terms of this agreement begins. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to, Jean Pasternak, I just want to also ask for that information. If the terms that were described to the public about this bond transaction have been changed within this lease, I think that should have been disclosed. Thanks.
Thank you.
I move that this public hearing be closed and the ordinance be adopted on final reading, and that the township clerk be directed to publish the ordinance by title as passed on final reading in accordance with the law.
Before we vote, real quick, Mr. McDonald, has any of the terms in this lease changed?
Yeah, no, none of the terms in this lease have changed. As they were discussed in the public, the fact is that the rent does not start until the construction of the carriage house and other improvements to the paper mill playhouse are finished. So that rent doesn't start for, I believe it's 2 years, 2027. But the dollar rent on the lease starts in July 1st, 2025. And the other question regarding closing, we anticipate closing within the next 2 to 3 days, probably by the end of the week. Correct, Mr. Cantor?
Yes, we have a tentative closing date of Thursday or Friday.
There was mention made of the original payment was forgiven. That did not happen.
No. I think, yeah, again, that's
not true.
That is not true. This is a separate lease. That lease is still in force and effect. That is still being paid. The rent is still being paid. And I think the other question was, in all of this, I think we had mentioned that the township is whole at the end of these leases being paid.
Correct, and Matt Larissy has provided that analysis to everyone. And even
then, the original rent, the rent from not this rent, but the other rent will continue in perpetuity. Right?
It's a 75-year lease.
Yes, there's some net perpetuity, but not 30 years.
Correct.
And in terms of the rent payment of $50,000, that far exceeds the anticipated revenue from the parking lot. So we've negotiated, I believe, if my recollection is correct, it's around 30,000 or so. And we're getting 20,000 additional 50,000 for the 30 years. And it is 30 years. You don't burn the first 2 or 3 years waiting for it to be complete.
Well, isn't the first 2 or 3 years a $1 payment?
Correct. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
And then 30 after that.
And then 30 after
Oh,
that.
the 30 starts after that.
Correct.
So it's still 30 years total.
Yeah,
We get
that's what I remember. I just wanted to make sure we had that clarification.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Prugas?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakamandy?
Yes.
Mr. Stoller?
Affirmative.
Mayor Romano?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so old business, gas powered leaf blower regulations. Deputy Mayor, do you wanna start or?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we still have this on the agenda because there were still some questions from members of the township committee and concerns. We've got members of the EC here. So I was hoping we could take this opportunity to have you guys ask the questions or express the concerns, because I'd like to get this moving forward. We've seen there's public support for it. Other than the meeting we had where a lot of landscapers came, and I think at the end of it, they walked away, kind of okay with the compromise. We haven't had a lot of people come and speak out against this proposed seasonal ban. So I think this is a win for the community in many ways, and I want to see it move forward as quickly as possible. Next year, I know that the EC is going to be holding some additional information sessions so that we can educate the public in how to treat their landscapers once these rules go into effect, because, you know, it's gonna be harder to have every single blade of grass be gone in the summer. But that's okay. And so I'd like to see this move forward. So if there's anyone up here on this dais that has continuing concerns, let's use this time to voice those and get some answers so we can get this moving along.
And I'd just like to add, seeing the young people come out tonight in support of the seasonal restriction on the gas leaf blowers is fantastic. And they understood the issues. They understood the noxious, the fumes. They understood the noise pollution. I mean, watching these guys and girls grow up, it's just been fantastic. The seasonal restriction is a happy medium where everyone's met in the middle, and bringing it back for our town is my feeling.
Committee Nicole?
I don't have any questions.
My only concern, and it was the concern that I said last time too, was, you know, has anyone talked to the schools? And let them know that we were having these conversations? You know, that was one of my questions. And then again, I would just want more public information sessions. You know.
They're scheduled.
Yeah.
Your Honor, we've scheduled the next public information session for January 8th. It'll be just down the hall in this small meeting room. You are correct. You had asked me about the schools, and that was, I tried to address everything I remember from our conversation. That one I didn't. Can you tell me exactly what I'm asking, by the way? Is it?
Well, not just let them know that it's what the Environmental Commission is talking about, and just get some feedback from them, because it's going to affect their 7 schools.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
You know.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know if.
And there's a
Do you
high
have a
schooler on the,
contact?
isn't there a high schooler on the EC that can bridge that gap as well? I mean, so.
Are you talking
Oh,
about
yeah,
the environmental club?
Yeah.
No.
No, I mean, the young woman who's on the environmental.
Yes.
Yeah,
on
that's
the EC.
That's the environmental club.
Well, she wouldn't really know the administration though.
Yeah.
No.
But she
I think
could-
it's a conversation
No.
that the committee has to have with
No, she's not
with
up
the
to that.
administration.
So would
Okay,
that be
well,
the
I'll do it
superintendent?
as a
then?
liaison to the BOE.
Right.
I will set up with Viswa and the powers that be, including my son's former football coach, Chris Drexel, who's now the athletic director.
Well, I think it would be more
And, you know,
proper.
he has the people who do all of the
Fields.
fields.
Then
Yeah, so Dan would be able to be there. He's the guy.
Because it's not only the fields, it's the school property, it's all of the property, so. And I don't know if,
Yeah, I don't know that they would even really be using blowers during the season, that they're gonna be.
well, they're still cutting the grass and everything, so they might be. I don't know, I'm
They
just
are.
saying.
You know, but at this, let's talk to them, sure, but if the township, DPW can deal with it and they said, we'll learn to live with it.
I totally agree with you, but again, I just want them to be aware of the
It's a
conversation.
neighborly thing to do. Well,
also, I think the thing is that we as a township started preparing because we had been aware of the conversations previous. So it's just that they may not have started buying,
Exactly.
like we already had started buying things to deal with the summer months and the electric.
Sure, so then you'll have
I'll-
those conversations.
I'll
and
facilitate
By next
no
meeting,
problem.
maybe we'll have an update on that.
Okay.
And they may surprise us.
And
We surprised you.
I just
it
want-
might also be worthwhile for the two of you to go to a BOE meeting, make use of the public
There you go.
comment.
Yes.
And sell the idea to them. I'm sure it won't be a very hard sell, especially if you bring some of those students along.
Yeah.
You know, then we can close
We,
this out and hopefully
yeah.
get this wrapped up early next year.
We, you're always gonna have people that are going to say that they didn't know, no one told me, but we just have to try as best we could just to make sure everyone knows. That's
That's a good point.
We're good.
And then in addition to the information sessions, the EC put aside money from the 2024 budget for purchasing ads on Facebook and Tap Into the patch. So we're we want to reach as many people as possible.
And we'll add
So
it to
that
the
is
message. When you have
Yeah.
the public sessions coming up, we'll add it to the message just so as many people know as possible.
Mhm.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Anything else? So we're good. Okay, public comment. This public comment period is to allow for final comments from the community. When invited to speak to offer your comments, please come to the lectern, clearly state your name and whether you are a Millburn resident and or property or business owner. Please do not provide your full address, seeing our meetings are recorded and are readily available to the public. A reminder that in order to help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit them to be heard, speakers shall limit their comments to 1 3-minute session.
Phil Kirsch, Millburn resident. First, I just wanted to thank everybody on the dais for all the work they did this year. I'm sure we all really appreciate it, and happy birthday, Alex. But what I wanted to make a suggestion going forward. I know that the packet here and online has the background for the resolutions on the consent agenda. But I think it'd be very helpful if at the meetings, if the Township Committee gave just a thumbnail sketch of items on the consent agenda, especially when they have the import of something like a developer's agreement, like what Annie says. I think for people to just hear briefly what's involved would be very helpful. I know they do this, the meetings I've been in Verona, they do this, and they had just had the clerk, again, give a very brief description of the agenda items before they're voted on. I think that's something you might want to consider. I think it'd be very helpful. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Jeffrey Feld again, happy holidays for everyone. Tara, thank you for your 6 years. And I think they had a rocker. They didn't tell the public. Enjoy rocking in it.
Yes, thank you.
Of that. Couple other points. Alex, when you meet with the Orange, remember Orange has a long-term, a 15-year lease with the county for that. And I think, you know, that they're really the county, we have to keep in mind that they have an interest in the reservoir. And just as we talk about Mount Laurel declaratory judgment, I just hope that a lot of people watched the affordable housing seminar on Thursday and watched the hearing in Mercer County on Friday. And hopefully soon we will have a notice of appearance for our new council being put into the docket, because I have not seen that happen yet. Because I think they were supposed to, once they signed the agreement, they were supposed to be our new litigation counsel. Again, everyone, happy holidays. And Tara, thank you. I know we've been battling for 4 years, but again, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Christine, best coming again. I just wanted to finish up on some of the Explore stuff that I didn't to tell you actually, because you make those decisions. I know you already need the budget thing, that's totally fine. So I wanted to ask about what happened to the snowflake lights this year. I know actually a couple stores, I spoke to some stores, which I do often sometimes, just talking to some of the merchants, that they were upset about the lack of snowflakes, particularly on Millburn Avenue further down, closer to Annie says, like near Goldberg's, et cetera. So Amanda had told the store owners in an email that that they broke. So did all the snowflake lights break that we couldn't put them up this year? Maybe Alex will know that answer, or the DPW. And you know, I don't think there's a tree light, you know, in Taylor Park. It was strange. So I just thought that was really strange this year. And I also noticed a lot of the TBL planters are empty, you know, so I do want to call out that I personally think, as a longtime resident, that our town has a higher income level than Summit, and we don't do as good of a job visually. I do think the main part near the standard is really tight, but there's a lot of other work to be done, particularly on Upper Millburn Avenue and closer to Goldberg's. It's looking a little sad, a lot of weeds. There's broken bricks, there's like potholes in the bricks. It's quite a mess up there. So just something that I think needs to be worked on. And I also want to just talk to, I do support the SID, and I talked to you why I had issues with some of the budget, and I actually don't have a problem with what they spend in retail. There's quite a bit, they do a lot of work. My issue is that you don't have anybody with retail expertise, true retail expertise, other than Mr. Wasserman. And I'm not talking about a small business owner. I'm talking about somebody who understands retail metrics. And the young gentleman who's super sweet and has an MBA, I don't think he realizes that I think Stern Business School at NYU is the only school in the country that has an MBA program that specializes in luxury retail. And that's relatively new. So a classic MBA person would not have that experience. You'd have to get that hands-on working as a chief merchandising officer in a retail organization. So I just wanted to put that out there. And then I wanted to talk about the Environmental Commission, blower ban. I actually have like mixed feelings about it. And so the one thing, because I totally agree with the environmental implications of it, but my concern is that I'd like to see the DPW actually do a test with electrical equipment to understand the I can't talk tonight, I'm so sorry, the decibel difference and also the frequency difference, because high pitch frequencies from electrical devices are actually more painful and damaging sometimes to the ears. And I personally can't stand when my neighbor uses an electric blower, and it will cost homeowners a lot more. So like, instead of blowing the acorns off, you actually will be hand picking them off of your thing. Maybe people are anal, there's a lot of people in town that are, so. Thanks, Annette, I'll see you later, and happy birthday, everybody.
Charlie Bambara, resident of Melbourne Short Hills. I spent quite a bit of time with the environmental committee on this ban. I gave some advice. I provided some information for committee for Deputy Mayor Saccomondi. I personally don't think the ban goes far enough, because I think string trimmers should be included. And I think you have to define, I've said this time and time again, gas powered, there's a difference between 2-stroke and 4-stroke. And everybody keeps talking about all the pollution that's from 2-stroke engines, it's not from 4-stroke engines. So make the distinction in the ordinance, call it 2-stroke engines, ban any garden tool with 2-stroke, because I know in my neighborhood, when the landscapers come through in the summertime with their string trimmers, some of them have 3 or 4 string trimmers operating at the same time. And it's just as deafening as the leaf blowers are. So, I think the ban should be on 2-stroke garden tools. And some 4-stroke garden tools are quite compliant environmentally, and they're muffled a lot more than 2-stroke are. So I think there's a little bit more homework that can be done. And I think the ordinance needs to be very specific, or it can be challenged as being arbitrary, and then it's not going to hold up in court. So if somebody wants to do that, it won't be me, but just protect yourselves and make it specific. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Renee Paparian, I am a resident. I'm also the chair of the Environmental Commission. And I would like to remind everybody again that this restriction is seasonal. So when the acorns fall from the trees, you're going to hear everything that you hear right now, because the gas blowers are going to sound just like they do right now in the fall. Okay, so everybody can blow their acorns away if they can't get them before. I just want to reinforce the fact that this is seasonal. Okay, it's not a full-on ban that other municipalities like Maplewood have done. It's very reasonable. And in the summertime, you don't need 4-stroke or 2-stroke. And the electric will do just fine. When there's heavy duty cleanup, that is when the gas blowers are permitted, as is all the other equipment. And as far as the other equipment, I certainly understand the concerns, but right now we're trying to bite off what we think the township can chew. You can't address everything and be totally unrealistic. Let's get this done. We're not the first. We are certainly not taking the lead in this, but let's be smart about it. We have done a lot of research, and if people think we haven't, then they haven't come to the information sessions. I am going to say to anybody who's listening or who's going to listen to this recorded, come to an information session that the Environmental Commission is going to hold. Stop guessing on Facebook and proposing what you think you heard your neighbor say about the decibels, about the come to an information session. You can ask, okay? And Christine Best, I happen to know that was cleared with you and your schedule, okay? Okay, That is and also, once again, about the polystyrene collection, if anybody's listening, please just bring your polystyrene. It's the packing polystyrene, white, has to be clean, has to be dry. It has to be free of any tags or tape. Bring it to the big collection bin at the town yard. We are very fortunate. We're one of the few municipalities that offer this. The recycling facilities, the MRFs, they don't have the capability to recycle, which is why when you put out that material with your weekly recycling, it's not going to be recycled. It's going to end up in a Pennsylvania landfill. Okay, that just happens to be what's going to happen. You want it recycled, bring it to the town yard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Richie Cyber, Milburn resident. Thank you, Renee Paparian. You know, seriously, how much do you get paid for all the time you put in? How much? I didn't hear. Okay.
Same thing I
All of you. Good job. I just want to go on the record. It's the final meeting of the year. Good job, everybody. The pay is low, a lot of hours put in, and you all work for the town. Except you get paid a lot, okay? But everybody else works pretty much here. Tara, you're gonna be missed.
Yeah.
Seriously. Thank you. And for my wife, she misses the nutcrackers that were on all the poles.
Oh my
And- No, I know, somebody said just snowflakes, but she misses the nutcrackers. And you know what?
They were toy soldiers, Richie, by the way.
Well, we call them nutcrackers. Okay. Toy soldiers are nutcrackers, aren't they? No?
Nope, they're different.
Nutcracker's not a soldier? All right, she misses the toy soldiers. So if you could put up a couple of toy soldiers just for her, that would be great. All right. Happy holidays to all. Thank you.
Anyone online?
I get to go first.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
My name's, apologize, I lost my voice. My name's Donnie Kanowski, Milburn resident. First of all, I wanted to thank everyone here. I've been sitting here for many years, like people said, supporting Darren. I've witnessed all of you guys through the years, and it's really been an interesting and amazing experience. I appreciate everything that you guys do for the town. I see from the inside, being with Tara, how much work you guys put into it, and it's truly, truly appreciated, and thank you all. And Tara, I couldn't be prouder of you, and I love you, and I love you so much, and I just wanted to publicly tell everybody that, and how much I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. And I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. And I love you, and happy holidays to everybody.
Is there anyone online?
Can't top that.
She was
like smile.
You could put your camera on, please. There she goes. I can't hear you.
We can't
Can't hear you.
No volume. We're muted.
Can't hear you.
Sounds happy though.
Yeah, she sounds happy. We can't hear you.
Wishing everybody a-
Well, what? Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Gia Sachan. I'm a junior at Penguin and Milburn resident. I just wanted to say that I support a seasonal restriction on gas leaf blowers. Gas leaf blowers are incredibly disruptive, and many here have already spoken to the data around it, not just to our peace and quiet, but also to our health and the environment. On a personal level, my mom, sister, and I share responsibility for walking our dog. We often encounter landscapers using gas leaf blowers. The noise scares my dog, and the air pollution makes it difficult for both of us to breathe comfortably as we walk past. While most of us have gotten used to the noise and environmental pollution caused by them, my dog responds in a more natural way by dragging me away from it. Change starts with simple actions, and this restriction could set an example of how we can balance practicality with an environmental responsibility. By restricting the use of gas leaf blowers, Melbourne can become a leader in the environmental responsibility like a few of our neighboring towns, inspiring other communities in New Jersey and other states to follow suit. Thank you for considering this important initiative.
Thank you. That's it.
Jerry Kung, Short Hills resident. I'll be quick. I forgot to mention this during the first public comment. Mr. McDonald, I think you mentioned the town got a grant for 495,000. I might be getting the numbers wrong for the Short Hills, 79 for the Short Hills train station. Is this with regard to the plan that was presented, I think, a little over 2 years ago related to the I think there was like a traffic barrier and then cars, there was a one-way traffic pattern or something. I'm just a little curious because those plans seemed a little nascent in terms of, they weren't well formed. A lot of, I remember residents, particularly in that neighborhood, I think there was, I don't know if it was related, there was talk of turning Hobart Ave one way related to that. I think there were a lot of neighbors in that area who were concerned about it. And I had personally thought that, those plans had sort of been set aside. So I was just surprised to hear that we got grant money for that. Are there plans specific that grant money is restricted for? Are we going to go back to the drawing board in terms of, coming up with new plans that grant monies can be applied to? I think originally the cost, and I could be wrong, was 1.8 or maybe even $3 million. Like, I just don't remember for the whole project. So I'm just curious as to how we anticipate that process playing out, because while a $400,000 grant is great, if it requires spending $2 million for a $2.5 million project, that's still $2 million that we're spending. So we just need to make sure that that's the right project for the town. So with all of that rambling, I think it's time for me to stop so that we can all go home. So thank you all for everything you do. Looking forward to working with everyone in the new year. Thanks.
Thank you. So we're going to close public comment. Mr. McDonald, can you please answer about the snowflakes?
Yes.
Thank you.
So just in general about holiday lighting, I think it's important for everybody to know that the Winter Walk was a Chamber of Commerce event. They ran the event, they got the sponsorship for the event, and at some point, after people that had started it and worked really hard to get it up and running had left the chamber, and it was attempted to be taken over, it just has not come to fruition. So I think there's at times this expectation that this just stopped, or this misunderstanding that this just stopped. This has not been in place for 2 years. So what the township and with the help of the special improvement district have been attempting to do is sort of working on a long-term plan of how we are going to continue to light up Melbourne for the holidays. This is not something that is going to happen overnight. This is not something that is inexpensive to do. And I know people will speak to, whatever the budget is or whatever, but it is a part of what we're trying to do. The snowflakes have been in existence for, I don't know, somebody else could probably tell me because they were probably here before me. Yeah, forever. The toy soldiers or nutcrackers have been in existence forever. The snowflakes, yes, a lot of them are broken. There are a lot of poles that are inaccessible, unable to accommodate them. If you notice throughout the years, those snowflakes get more and more sporadic. You've got 1 or 2 on Upper Melbourne Avenue. You've maybe got 1 or 2 on Melbourne Avenue down. Yes, I am 100% positive on what I'm saying. These snowflakes have been sporadic throughout the years because they break or the poles aren't accessible. In addition, what we've done with the honoring our hometown heroes has also made those poles inaccessible for the snowflakes. So I think we are looking to revamp that. And I think that sort of, I get people's concern about holiday lighting. However, we are implementing holiday lighting. The courtyard is lit up. The lot one, which had previously been done by the chamber, is lit up. We are also in the process of purchasing permanent fixtures that we can use to continue to light up the township in a respectful way. This is going to take some time, and also I would say in comparison to Cranford, Summit, Westfield, other communities that have pedestrian scale lighting in other areas other than a small portion of their downtown, it facilitates the use of these types of decorations much easier. When you have a pole with electricity at the top that you are already being metered for, and you can plug in a holiday decoration or a winter decoration in that light, makes it a lot easier. Hope maybe this will be motivation to continue pedestrian scale lighting in areas like Upper Milburn Avenue or Milburn Avenue where we don't have it. That could help facilitate a better holiday feel in the downtown. So again, we are working on it. We are continuing those efforts, but it is no longer being supported or supplemented by the Chamber of Commerce and what they had done. So it's going to take some time to do that. In addition, I just would like to, while I have the mic, I would like to answer Dr. Kung's comments. So this project has been spoken about since 2019. In particular, I'm talking about the eastbound side of the train station, not the westbound side. The westbound side of the train station was the conversation in which I think most residents were not in favor of improvements based on the fact that it was traffic changes. It was changing, Station Plaza to a one-way, changing Hobart Avenue to a one-way, making those improvements in and around Station Plaza and that eastbound or that westbound side. The eastbound side are improvements that include a variety of things, but a lot of those things weren't necessarily in consternation with the public. But yes, there are tweaks, right? I think I received a comment from a member of the committee that they didn't like an entrance being eliminated. There are approaches in that conceptual plan that are to organize the traffic. Anybody who's been up there at drop-off time, pickup time, it is a mess, and there needs to be some organization to that. Also, lighting is not good up there. So this project it approaches lighting, it approaches organization, it approaches additional connectivity to the business district as well as Woodland Avenue. It is about organizing pedestrians to make sure that they're crossing in a crosswalk and they're crossing at the right places. So it touches on a lot of things. The budget is $479,000. I don't anticipate this being a $3 million project or a $1.8 million project. None of those numbers were associated with this at any time that I'm aware of. And I think that, again, there will be some retooling. This is not something that we're married to, but I think generally speaking, the overall aspects of it, lighting, organization, pedestrian safety are all part of that project. So again, agreed, getting a $479,000 grant if you're going to pay $2 million is not necessarily something you want to do. This is a $479,000 grant. It's a safe routes to transit grant. So it's much like what we are doing with the Safe Routes to Schools grant, which is a grant that you actually receive design assistance with. So we're looking forward to it, and it's going to be a process. It's going to take a while. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It'll probably take a few years actually to make these improvements and utilize this grant money. Lastly, I just would like to say something because I think it's really important. When you quote people, that you quote people correctly, especially when you say things, and I would be remiss to not say. I never said that there are deficiencies. I said if there are deficiencies with the SID, don't tear down the barn, not burn down the barn. So I just like to. It has to be clear that when you quote people, quote them, because that's important. So that's it.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other comments, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, so we didn't get an opportunity to do this before, but I would like to express my gratitude to Tara for all the hard work she has put in. I've been attending these meetings for the past few years now, For most of them, I was sitting out there, and Tara was up here fighting for the town. Tara, you fought the good fight. You did what you thought was best for the town and the residents, and you didn't give up. Even when everyone else on the dais was against you, you stayed in the fight. And I also really appreciate your commitment and helping to drive forward the referendum that we're gonna have on the Charter Commission. I think that's gonna be really great. And if that all goes the way I hope it does, I think that's gonna put the town in a great spot, and that'll have been a huge lasting impact. So again, I just wanna thank you for your service. I wanna wish you the best of luck on wherever you go next or whatever you do next. You will be missed, and I'm honored to have served with you, so thank you.
Tonight was just fantastic. I love the robust exchange of ideas in a professional and civil manner. I love that change this year. I want to express gratitude to everyone on the dais for the great job everyone's done this year. And everybody's worked together. Tara, I cannot wish you more than the best. You've been fantastic. Thank you for everything you've done for this town. I love getting my drinks there before every meeting. The what is it, turmeric and cayenne pepper. So I'll be seeing you before the meetings anyway. Happy holidays to all. And we always have to remember we have more that unites us than divides us, and that always comes out at the end, right? So everyone have a great holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year.
Committeeman.
Yeah, well, but I'd like, so the first campaign that I worked on, when I decided to get involved in local politics, was your first run, Tara's first run for office. Back then, I certainly didn't think we'd end up I thought you'd win, but I didn't think we'd end up serving together. So thank you for all you've done over the 6 years. It's a tremendous amount of work. As people said, you're certainly someone who, when you believe in something, which started with complete streets, but everything else all along, you've certainly fought for it. And then to echo everybody, I think it's been a great year. I mean, we've managed to restore civility across the board, both at the dais and the audience. And people who no longer live here aren't calling me up and say, I still watch the township committee meetings when they take out the popcorn. And I'm glad that doesn't happen anymore. So thank you to everybody, and happy holidays to everybody here in the community.
Yes, I want everybody to have a safe, happy holiday. And just to remind everyone that our next meeting is Tuesday, January 7th at 7 p.m. will be our organization meeting. So may I have a motion to adjourn this committee, Woman Kruger? Motion. Second? Second. Meeting adjourned.